G'day podcasters, welcome back to Season 6 of True Blue Conversations with your host Adam Bloom, the author of Easy Target, now available at adambloom.com.au. 8 years ago, after returning from 3 tours of Afghanistan and then gaining experience and education in financial planning, Warren Loudon teamed up with fellow veteran Dave Vaughan and started Loudon & Vaughan Private Wealth, founded with the underlying belief that every person matters and every dollar counts, providing comprehensive tailored financial advice and wealth management services for you and your family. Loudon & Vaughan will guide you towards your financial goals with integrity and transparency. Whether you're planning for retirement, investing for the future, or managing your family's wealth, they've got you covered. Visit loudonandvaughan.com.au or call 02 9538 2704 to book a meeting with Warren today.
G'day, welcome back to True Blue Conversations. Today I have a very special guest and he's come up from Victoria, and it's great to come to Sydney, which, I reckon Victoria's a bit better than Sydney, so even though I live here my whole life. But he's come up to join us today. He's a current Victorian Police Officer, 29 years in the job this year, and it's an absolute privilege to have him on. So, Mark Thomas, welcome to the podcast, mate.
Cheers, Ed. Great to be here,
mate. It is. We've been talking for a while, and it's great to have you on and have you up in Sydney. And mate, before we get into your career, let's go back to a young Mark and let's talk about you and your childhood.
Yeah, grew up in Geelong for the most part, which is...
So you're a Geelong fan?
Yeah, Geelong boy, Geelong boy. Early doors wasn't too good. What did we lose? 4 grand finals, 89, 2, 4 and 5. Yes, but then we won 7, 9, 11 and 22, so... I lost another one in 20 or whatever the COVID year was. Richmond rolled us, but it's a good time to be a Geelong supporter.
Absolutely,
that's for
mate.
sure. So yeah, that stems from Dad. Dad's a lifelong Geelong supporter. Yep. So although my brother changed colours and went to Carlton, so I don't know what happened there, but
still same colours but different.
Same colours but different. Yeah. So no, look, childhood, I guess, was a little bit different. I lost my mother to cancer when I was 8.
Yep.
So
I'll touch on that. Yeah. What was that like, mate? Especially, because that's really the first time for you where you had to find resilience, wasn't it? And how did that, being so young with your family, that would have been tough, mate?
Yeah, extraordinarily tough, as obviously a lot of people could well imagine, and a lot of people have been through the same situation, be their mother or father or a sibling or similar. Look, I've probably learnt more about that last few years since, and obviously we'll get into my mental health journey, but with what I've learnt through being clinically treated for PTSD, depression, anxiety, and that allows you to explore the brain, so to speak, and with conversations with the psych and just with other people, I've been able to unpack a hell of a lot more of what it's like to grow up without a parent. So, and just the damage that it does, the trauma, and this is she passed away in 1981. So I was 8 years old, and as far as psychologists are concerned, things like that, it wasn't exactly a time where. Obviously these days with a lot more knowledge and, I suppose, not to say there's stigmas around in those days. There would have been stigma, but it's not something that would have been thought about, kind of thing. So, these days, if, I've spoken to friends whose, parents have died or kids have died or something, right, get before a psych. That's the first thing you've got to do. You just got to get this treatment, clinical treatment. You've got to be done. And, that obviously sets up. Grief is such a complex thing 100%. To go through. So, and if you see a psych now, well, then that helps you navigate through that complex. But one of the things that was explained to me by a psych, but not in a clinical setting, just in a general, we're just having a general chat, is that this 8-year-old boy was just trapped in this, and even though physically I was growing, but mentally. I wasn't growing that much, and I always sort of felt throughout my childhood and early adulthood that I was a couple of years behind. mentally.
Well, I mean, you go to, like, I know myself, mate, I'm still blessed to have both my parents in this world. Mate, you always go to your mum. Like, if I'm having a tough day or something, I ring mum and go, Mum, what do you think of this?
Yeah.
And you didn't have that. So, mate, I dread the day that my mum's no longer here. But that's, for you, that's 8 years old. There's so much to unpack in that mate, as you say, your life would have just come to a complete halt.
Yeah, you basically put on a different timeline as well. But look, both my brother and I are extraordinarily lucky to have the old man. Like how good he is and still is. Like, he's, like, I know everyone says their dad's the best. Obviously not everyone, because some people don't have their dad. Like, they've gone through the same sort of thing. But, we had a roof over our head. We had meals on the table. We had, both of us were sport mad when we were younger. We were always at sport, at training. We had, we got the gear, and like we didn't go on many holidays as such, but for our day-to-day living, he did just such an exceptional job. And it's funny. We were sitting around the table one day and we're yapping away, and that's what Dad said to my wife Karen. Said, and in the context of the conversation, he said, it's probably why the boys are just a little bit rough around the edges, because there's no females in the household.
100%.
So, sit at a table to eat meals? No, because there's sport on TV. So the three of us be sitting in the lounge room watching sport with trays and eating food and things like that. So
that's the done thing.
That's the done thing. So, like both of us are successful in life, and that's not in a monetary sense. I don't deem having money as being success. Both of us have got brilliant wives. We've both got 2 kids each that are good human beings. And again, he's done an exceptional job with both of us. But not having the female influence in the house it made us just a little bit rough around the edges.
And did you notice that your dad, obviously he's grieving for the loss of his beautiful wife.
Yeah.
Did you notice a change in him as well?
Not overly, because I was only 8. Yeah. So, it's if I think back, Dad was just Dad. Yeah. Doing the best he could. But, I look back now and I just, which I do a fair bit, reflect, and I tip the lid to him. Like, an extraordinary effort to lose your wife, the mother of your kids, and 100%. To do the job he did, and he just swallowed all that trauma and got on with life, which, and now I know a fair bit about trauma.
100% you do, yeah.
Yeah, it's in the both sense that personal trauma, but also trauma as what I've seen in career trauma. Yeah, it's an extraordinary effort.
Absolutely.
Extraordinary effort.
So that happens, and that's the first time you've really had to face adversity in your life. And what were you like at school? Were you pretty good at school? Or
nah. I only failed one subject.
Yep.
I got put into top science in year 11. I had no interest in atoms and whatever else they were talking about. So I actually went home and I said, Dad, I'm going to fail this subject. So I picked middle science.
Yep.
Because at school they called it top, middle and veggie.
Yeah.
It's the 1980s.
Yeah. No political correctness.
So, but the middle was full because the thought was you had to do middle to get an apprenticeship, which I don't think that was the case, but that was the thought process. I wanted middle. They put me in top for some reason. I actually got 33%, I remember it. It's the only subject I actually ever failed, so not a flawless record. But I didn't like school. My brother didn't like school. We just, both of us wanted to. But Dad said if you get an apprenticeship, you can leave school. You will not be leaving school to go for some crap job, or I shouldn't say crap job, because every job is a job for someone. So, but he said unless you were going to leave to a job that has a career prospect, you stay in school. And I had ultimate respect for the old man, so I was never going to go against that. Yep. But he was well aware that there was no prospect of me or my brother doing year 12. That's not happening. So, look, the trade subjects, building, engineering, mechanics, all that, that was always probably A's and B's, and maths, English was C's and D's, I suppose.
And who would have thought, mate, you'd use your English in your future career?
Yeah, which, ironically now I sit there and, type complex affidavit. So
that's right, exactly. So
the world turns in funny ways.
Absolutely. And so you finish high school, mate, and what trade do you go into?
Well, I was applying for mechanics and carpentry, chippy, basically, and whichever one come up first, and mechanics come up first. So I always wanted to be a copper.
Yep.
And I reckon that stems from Mum's death.
Yep.
Because, through my teenage years, I had mates that, their grandfather died and things like that, and I found they would come to me and ask, what do? I don't know how I feel, and I was able to help them through it, even though I was in this, catastrophic level of grief myself that I didn't know at that stage. I knew I was sort of not struggling, I wouldn't say, but the world was taking a fair bit of navigating. I found great. Now I don't want to say enjoyment because that's not the right word, but it was good for me to help others.
Yeah. I know what you.
Yeah. So that's where I think that pointed me towards policing, in that you can help others.
Yeah, right.
But I wanted to be a mechanic also, and I sort of thought, once I join the police, there'd be night shifts. I could end up anywhere in the state, and I want to live a little bit. I want to travel and things like that. So that got put on the back burner, and so I was a mechanic. Mechanics come up first. So I was a mechanic for, I think, nearly 5 years.
Yep.
Then I went, so I was playing cricket, and I loved me cricket, and I still do, and my boss actually said to me one day...
Love cricket, good man.
My boss actually sat me down one day and he said, look, have you ever thought about playing cricket in England? Which, absolutely I had, but I'm just thinking, I don't know when I'm going to do it. And he goes, well, how about just take 6 months off, go have a play, and the job's here when you get back. I'm like, huh? Okay. So, then just through connections, I went off to England, just played in Nottingham, in a everyday league in Nottingham for 6 months, which was... the experience of a lifetime. But interestingly, Dad said the mark that went away was not the mark that come back. So it was like that 6 months in England by myself. This is pre-internet, so there's no email or WhatsApp groups and things with the family. Yep. So it was the odd call home, reverse charges, and I'd say it was Gary Ablett or someone like some famous Geelong footy player bringing reverse charges from England, so Dad would accept and have a bit of a giggle. And I think the mark over there, just he grew up. He really grew. So
I know it's very similar to what I did, mate. When and a lot of my listeners know that 10 years ago I was at my lowest point and wanted to end my life, and just after my suicide attempt, I went to Europe too for 6 months, and I was 22, and it is because you're on your own. You're in a foreign country, and you're making the decisions, and there's no one. A bit different to you. I had Skype, and I could call home, and a few years down the track. But I know what you're saying is that when you travel, and you grow as a person because you're not in your comfort zone. You're out of your comfort zone. Yeah. So you do that, and then. As you said, you always wanted to be a police officer. Talk me through the joining process back in 1996, because do you ring up and say, hey, I want to become a police? How did it work back then?
So I made the decision.
Yep.
Well, actually, I got back from England, went back to work, and the first job I had was an engine rebuild, which they were always the fun things to do, not the little bitty things. I always loved doing engines. And I jumped on the thing under the car, and this big drop of oil right between my eyes. And it was like, that was the moment.
Yeah.
I'm done with mechanics. I can't do this anymore.
Yep.
So I actually was playing cricket in Geelong with a senior sergeant who worked at Geelong Station. So I had a chat to him, and he goes, yep, come in. So I basically just got an application form he gave me one, filled it out, and you had to have an interview with the senior sergeant.
So you would have blitzed that.
So I think that interview went pretty well. We just sat there and spoke about cricket in a very clear and open process. That got lodged, and then I don't know whether I got a letter or a phone call or something, and it said basically come up for testing at the academy, so you're booked in. So I went on the Saturday, so it's over 2 days, the Saturday and the Sunday.
Yep.
The Saturday is all the academic stuff,
Yep.
English, you had to write an essay. I'd never wrote an essay in my life. Some problem-solving questions. We were up there for a fair while. So there's some couple other things. There's a psych test as well, which is like 600 questions. Like, do you think you're God? Do you eat rats? Or, like, all these different questions. But then later on, they ask the same questions, but in a different way. And you're thinking, it's obviously to catch out people who are trying to pull one over the eyes. So it got the results, and I failed the spelling test, which, I look back on, I had a bit of a laugh. It was grand final day 1995 too, and then Geelong got beaten by Carlton and Granny, and I failed the entry exam to the academy. So it turned out to be a really great day. But then, Dad being Dad, he was saying, and he said this later, and he goes, he was disappointed that Geelong had lost, but if Mark's passed, it's all good. Mark failed. Old mate, like English at school, I don't care too much for this.
Mate, most veterans and first responders I've spoken to,
we're not good at school.
School was not our bag, and I'm with you there. I was terrible, and now I'm a published author. It's just, it's just how life works.
Yeah.
And if you want something and you find that you're passionate about it, you find a way to get there.
You just find a way, exactly. So, and Dad being Dad for every night, so I had to wait 6 months before I could reapply. So just about every night for the next 6 months, he pulled out the dictionary and threw 20, 25 words at me.
Yeah, right.
So
he was pretty committed for you to
and that was his calling. And like,
because how old are you at this point?
23.
Yeah, okay. So most 23-year-olds going, go away.
I didn't want a bar of it. No, I'll be right. Yeah, no, you failed. All right, yeah, I got you.
Yep.
So you throw words out, and then went back 6 months later, passed, and then the second day was the physical testing, which, I was a 23-year-old, pretty fit unit, so that was of no issue. And then I think it was only like 4 or 5 days, it might have been that week, or the following week, had to go to an interview. So I went for an interview, sat down, and, they asked questions about how do you handle angry people, and I was able to talk about kids wanting to start fights at school. I talked my way out of it. Being a mechanic, you get people in screaming and yelling, they're not happy with something, but you talk reason with them, and you talk about the workings of an engine and explain it, and then they understand why. And I remember giving a story that this bloke come in, we did whatever it did to his car, but we also got new tyres put on. And then he come back in as a charge, like at the old Charger, and he come back in about a week later with his old man, and all the tyres had just ripped up, the back tyres. He goes, "You got faulty tyres on?" And I just looked at him and said, "No, mate, your son's been doing burnouts." "No, he hasn't." So, see how the tyre, and tyres happen certain things to him where that's not normal road wear, that's burnouts. And he looked at his son and just shook his head, and they walked off. So giving that kind of reasoning talk to the two sergeants interviewing me, they said, "All right, can you just go outside and have a seat for 5 minutes?" Cool, went out. Pretty nervous wait. But it was only I remember, I was only out there for about a minute before I come back in. "Yeah, we're recommending you for recruit training." Awesome. They said, "Look, there's actually a squad starting in 2 weeks." Locked me in. So June 10, 96, went in.
So, and I want to talk about that for a minute. You joined the police, but did you have any family members that had served in the military or police before you, or were you the first?
I was the first.
Yeah, right.
My cousin would have been around the same time. He went through Duntroon. So my dad did national service back in the day, didn't deploy anywhere around the Vietnam War time. So, as we've discussed in the lead up to this, and before we start recording, the immense respect we have for our ADF veteran community and serving members. But I'm very thankful Dad never got the call up to Vietnam. But as far as policing goes, I am the one and only.
Yeah, right. And your kids don't want to follow in the footsteps? Or?
No. Oh, like me lad when he was younger, but every kid wants to be a police officer or a fiery or a soldier or something. But no, he's heading the way of probably a trade, and daughter wants to be a paediatric nurse now. So,
awesome.
So they got there. I mean, that'll probably change, but as we just said, they'll work it out. They're good humans, so they'll work it out. So
you join, you go to the academy, and what do you remember of your time at the academy, mate? Because 1996, political correctness that isn't around now, and I'll say that because you're still in the job, so I'll say it. Back then, it would have been a little bit different, and for you at the academy, was it just you had to learn by the dot? You have to know all your laws, and you not being, as you say, not being English wasn't your best subject at school. Did you struggle with that, or was it too bad?
I actually really enjoyed the academy. Had its moments. Like I loved the physicality of it. Like as our drilling, drill was, learning to march, and once we sort of worked out, they said, look, we're teaching you all this, one, yes, for discipline, but for two, when you graduate, you want to make it look good because all your families and friends are watching it. And we've gone, okay, fair call. But like defensive training, tactics, obviously very important. Physical training I really enjoyed because I was fit, and I'm getting paid to get fitter. All right, I can handle. Yeah, give me some of this. The academic side of it, like the law, I enjoyed because I found it very interesting. The communications part of it, I didn't say much because our communications teacher, she was a nice. Well, she probably might have been in her early 60s, Miss Opie. She's a nice enough human, but she couldn't grasp the concept that I don't know what a noun is. I don't know what a verb is, and I still don't.
Yep,
and I don't care.
I'll join you.
I'm 52 years old. That's past me. I don't need to know.
That's right.
And plus, when I type something, a little red squiggly line comes up in Word saying something's not right here. So I don't need to know this stuff. But so she... she marked me down on my papers, and I'd go, I thought, I'll get on the front foot. And I said, look, after class, can I, have you got half an hour? Yeah, because I need to know this, because I don't, because I didn't pay any attention to English in school. Okay, yeah, no, that's good, recruit. No worries. So I sat down. She goes, well, this is a noun, this is a verb. And I said, you're going to have to slow up. So I don't know what you're talking about here. And she couldn't grasp that. And I laugh about it now. It probably wasn't ideal at the time. And I remember saying to her, you're not grasping that I don't know. And she goes, how do you not know? I said, all right, can you tell me the difference between a twin injected, and I've described two separately different engines, and just looked at her. I said, you can't describe them, can you? No. I said, well, that's my world. And at the moment I said that, I've gone, you idiot. What are you doing? And then we went on for a bit longer, and I said, look, let's just continue working this through the X amount of the rest of the time I'm here. We just agreed to agree. I think we both sort of thought, I'm a lost cause with grammar, so let's just push on and we see how we go. So, but look, overall, like a lot of people get freaked out going in the academy, but you know what? I want to be a copper. I want to be here. I had a super smart Toddy Sparkman, my roommate. Like, our room was about as big as this studio.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, so it's tiny, 2 single beds, a tap in there. But Sparks, he's one of the blokes who reads something once, it's in.
I'd love to have his brain.
Oh, here I am eating crayons in the corner trying to, read it for the 10th time. It's still not going in. So something, like we do there, we basically matched our study times together. More for my benefit than his, that's for sure. And I go, Sparks, ABC, 1, 2, 3. Thanks, mate. All right, cool. And then, but like I went into senior phase because it was split into 2 phases, junior and senior, 10 weeks each. And our senior phase instructor, Robin Hill, was brilliant. She pulled me aside because I failed the first exam after, because you have a week out at the station, and I failed the exam. Didn't study, so I was at home, going out the gas with the mates, eating pizzas, and lost the discipline of the study. And she said, how are you studying? And we went through it, and you could see from the start she was just invested. So she came up with, have you tried study cards? What are study cards? I've never done an exam in my life. I did tests at school. So we got these cards, write the question on the front, the answer on the back. I said, that's it, yeah. And then, so when you get back to your room once today's finished, don't do anything else, just go straight back and everything we've done that day, write them out. And then by leading up the exam, just sit there and ask yourself the question. And then from then on, I don't think I've gone under like mid-80s.
Yeah,
so
right.
that she worked out, she unlocked my study method.
Yeah.
So once I got that, like the next, I passed the resit, which was great. And then like the resit, to be fair, wasn't that hard. So I think they went quite easy on me and another bloke, Mick. But yeah, after that, the scores just went up, and I actually enjoyed it, the academy.
And because how many started with you, and then where was the academy back in '96?
It was out at Glen Waverley.
Yep.
Still there. It's an old Catholic building. It's got this, I think it was a Catholic building. So it sits up in the hill. It's got this, I'd nearly say it's a cathedral. It's an incredibly impressive building. And then there's all the buildings that have been added over the years. So, but we started with 24 and we graduated with 10.
Oh, wow.
We were the second lowest ever.
Wow.
At that stage, when we graduated in October 96, we were the second lowest ever. And on parade of a morning, so I had morning fatigue. So it used to be, back in the day, that the recruits would clean, would put up the flags, all of that. But, not allowed to do that now. So on parade of the morning, like, we'd have 3 or 4 people on it, to march out, because the rest of us are doing our morning fatigues. But we worked out so that you go through sister squad. So 15 and 16 of 96, I was 15. So I can't remember who I was with from my squad, but we were delegated morning flags, and 2 from 16 were evening flags. So we said to them, this is like the 3rd day we're there. How about for the rest of this week, we'll do morning and night, and then next week you do morning and night, then every second week we get a week off. Yeah, that works. Do we run it by the instructor? We better, because if we get sussed out, we might get in strife. So we went up to the instructor and said, hey, look, we've hatched this plan. And the instructor I remember, he just laughed and he goes, yeah, well, you 4 have worked out the system pretty quick. So every second week, we had a week off fatigues and have a sleep in. Everyone's marching out. I'm lying in bed going, how good's this?
That's mad. That's so
good. It's just a nice little... But yeah, again, to reiterate, I actually enjoyed it. I was looking forward to get out, but yeah, I enjoyed it.
So is that people withdrew at their own request, or...
Failed exams, and then failed reset, then they'd get back squatted to go back a couple of weeks. There was 2 squads that come in, 2 weeks after us. And then... But some people just go, this is not for me, and just resign.
Because... For you as well, like, because I know in New South Wales it's 8 or 9 months now that they do. How long were you guys?
20 weeks.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, right.
Yeah, 20 weeks, 19 weeks in, 1 week out at a station.
Yeah, right. And in that period, do they take you to the morgue, or what happened? Like, what was that like being a 23-year-old?
So we went to the coronial centre when we got to that part of the syllabus. By that time, we had watched X number of crime scene videos, like a lecture from the homicide squad. It's going to involve some pretty harrowing footage and photos, and the old accident investigation section, which now is major collision. Like their criteria is triple fatal, or a fatal with criminality involved. So, like, their photo books were pretty extreme. Like, all of this was I got no doubt now, was a desensitisation process to put us through. Which is fair enough, because if you're going to wig out, it's better to wig out in a controlled environment
100%.
Rather than out in the street for the first time when everyone's looking at you as to do the job.
With you too. Like, you need to know that they're going to be there to support you. Like, So
we went to the coronial centre, and like, we walked in, and to the right was this room that's just all metal, and it had holes in it. I can still see the holes. And they go, that's the infectious diseases. So after the autopsy's done, they just wash the whole joint off. And there's two blokes in there, and like, they were midway through, and I'm like, okay. This is the first time we're all seeing a deceased person. Actually in front of us. And then we looked around to the left, and there was our bloke, and the pathologist said, we're pretty sure this person died of a heart attack. We've got to prove that. That's what a coroner does. And then he sat there and he spoke about the coroner's duties, and that aligns with what we've been speaking about back in class. And then did the autopsy, which, apart from a couple of bits, I found incredibly fascinating. And then he brought his heart over, which is, it's hard to wrap your head around, going,
that's someone.
Jesus,
someone was alive.
That's someone's heart, like right there. And then he's cut down the arteries, and then sure enough, there was an artery that was blocked, and he showed us, and he goes, there we go, we've proven it was a heart attack. Okay.
Yeah, wow.
All right.
That would be fascinating.
Yeah, like it was, and that autopsy and the one later on, which we'll speak about, the marketable difference when I got my triggering event wedged in the middle there. So, and it was on the bus, like seeing the human body in that way. We're just sitting there going, right, giving up smoking. These are all the boys are saying, giving up smoking, going to eat healthy, not going to be drinking as much, going to do this, going to do that. And then, of course, if it was Wednesday, Wednesday night was hot dogs night or something. So then, we're plowing in the cans of Coke and hot dogs and chips and stuff. But, I mean, the biggest takeaway for me was just how incredible the human body is and how it's all done.
Oh, 100%. It's, I got mates that are physios or they do like anatomy stuff, and you just sit there and go, that's cool. Like you just like and how
it's extraordinary.
We're when you think about it, mate, we're a computer that is just like, and we've got emotions, we've got thoughts, we've got all this stuff, and it's all powered by a couple of organs that there's a few organs that make, but it's amazing. So you have that, mate, and what was, because I know like the shooting component, were you the old the
revolver?
Yeah, the revolver, and that, what was that? You shoot like, because you're growing up. Did you shot as a kid, or were you?
Not overly, no. And I say not overly, like a cousin's. I might have let go a couple of 22 rounds when I was younger. Yep. Sort of thing. So, but firearms week, I reckon, was week 14 from memory, and we'd got in a, we'd seen a lot of people that we'd become mates with leave. We were getting hammered by a couple of instructors. Like, we were under the pump. Like, they applied a fair bit of pressure on us, and particularly a few of us. Then we get to firearms week, and we go down 4 bay range underneath the gym, and the instructors go, right, everyone, there is no relax, all right, because you are going to be dealing with live firearms. There is no stress here from the outside world. So there is no, you do not call us sergeant, you do not call us senior, you call us by our first names, all right? This is going to be a very friendly environment. We're a little bit of siege mentality, bullshit. But then it became apparent very quickly that all this idea of strict discipline, all that, was just stripped right away, because we're now giving, like, there might have been 18, 20 people, 16, 18 people in our squad at that stage, and I can't think of anyone in our squad that was a regular shooter. So we're now giving these people who quite conceivably have never held a firearm before, and we're going to just reel off hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of rounds. So, you know what? Let's chill. And it turned out to be an awesome week.
Yeah, right.
Really good week. And then, because our squad was pretty small, we all qualified pretty early. So, like, the last day was just a fun day. Because you get to know your instructors quite well and what they like. And I loved, as I said before, the physicality of it. And a couple of instructors said, right, the next exercise is we're going to give you an idea what it's like to have adrenaline pumping, things like that, and how you shoot. Right, cool. So put on an old vest, which the old vest weighted. Go run around the 400-metre track, come back down. We're going to have music blaring, the blue and red lights going, and we're going to be screaming at you, and we're just going to see how you shoot. And it was a brilliant lesson. So, like, my groupings, no pressure, pretty good. I got back from running me lap. Big Eamon Fairs was there, massive unit. Just picked me up, put me on the ground, put a couple of boots into me. Not hard.
Yeah.
But got up, and the instructors are just teeing off on me. 6-shot revolver. Bang, 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 click. Oh, no. That just opened up. It can't count, you dumb fuck. It's just... But I'm sitting there smiling. I was enjoying it. This is fun.
Yep.
And then, they pulled the shotguns out if anyone wanted to have a go with a shotgun. So, but it was a really good lesson in knowing, like, people think they can shoot, yet you put a bit of pressure on, or your adrenaline's dumping, just how pear-shaped it goes. And, like, my groupings went way out. So, all right, cool, I've got to be really aware of that. And then, the theory about tunnel vision and things like that. It's not a theory, it's
real,
it's an actual thing.
Yep.
That all theory becomes practice now, and you can actually see it.
So with that, do they, like your revolver at the academy, does that follow you? Is that your gun that you're
No. So the revolver's just their station issue.
Mm-hmm.
We had revolvers until 2010, which we converted over to semi-autos, which was a week-long course. And
right.
And now, they're all personal issue. I haven't, because we don't go out in the street.
Mm-hmm.
So we give ours back rather than let it sit in the locker, not being used. So, not that I'll ever go out in the road again, but people from my work unit, if they're going out in the road for a voluntary shift or something, they just sign one out from the station.
And that's a big thing, because I know that was a big difference made in that. I know most, is it, or all now, a Glock, they've got the Glocks now, most police.
Smith & Wesson, us, 40 cal.
Yep. So most...
It's either one or the other, I believe.
Yeah, right. And because I know for a long time that's, the revolver and and that causes an issue too, mate, because, if you're halfway through a gunfight with a criminal... Stop, hang on, I've got to duck down, reload, it's as now, chum, in, and away you go. It's a bit different.
Like with a revolver, I mean, most of us only carried one speed loader. So we had 12 bullets. That's it. And now we've got, 30.
Yeah.
Which, I've never been in a gunfight, but I'd suggest 12 as opposed to 30. I think I know which one I want.
And that's, I think I'd rather have 32 than, 12 bullets, you'd want to be a good shot, because you got 12 bullets. So that happens, mate. And are they, at that point too, at the academy, do they give you a posting of where you want to go, or...?
So you put in for 3 districts, as I will then know, it's now regions. So I put in 4K, which was Geelong, KA, which is Melbourne, CBD, and very, very inner. And then I think I did B, which is down sort of St Kilda way, which is down on the beach. But then, I sort of in a moment of clarity, I sort of thought, if I go back to Geelong and I go to a nightclub, and I've just turned 24 in the academy, so my mates are well peaking in their nightclub careers. What happens if I go to a brawl at a nightclub and it's my mates? So I got hold of the PSEP, probationary constable something people, and I said, hey, look, I actually don't want to go back to Geelong. I think that's a dangerous move. It's not right, and put a bit of a spin on it. And they go, no, that's a really good decision. So they found someone from A who wanted to go to K, so we swapped. So I stayed, and I had the thought, I'll spend a couple of years when I get to know how to handle things, I'll go back to Geelong, but I stayed and I've never gone back.
Yeah, right. And with that, mate, did you feel that from the training that you had at the academy, did you feel, okay, I'm ready to go into the big bad world and the dangerous world of what policing is? For the most part, it was handy having the old senior sergeant from Geelong, Billy Matthews. I run into him when I was going through the academy, and he said, right, you are going to work with people who are utterly brilliant. They will put you under your wing, and they will take you where they go. They will show you everything. They will look after you, everything. Conversely, you're going to work the van with people who will say the job's fucked. TJF. From the moment you start, get through your 8 hours. Just nod and wave. And like now, I'd call it the penguins of Madagascar. Just smile and wave, boys. Just smile and wave. And his words could not be truer. My first shift, I worked with Mandy Ashby. Mates with her to this day. Love the girl. We went to, you graduate, you go through traffic direction learning, boost buses, things like that. But my first day at a proper station, drug overdose. I'm with Mandy. So she walked me through the scene. Ambos were there. They've revived a second bloke. Explained what was going on, blah, blah, blah. Looked after me. No worries, all good. Second day, I worked with another bloke. Got in the van. Brand new, aren't you? Yep. Job's fucked, mate. Sooner you work that out, the better. It's a good start to the day. Nice.
Just
get through your 8 hours.
Yeah. Just get through my 8 hours here. Yeah. And I remember giving that advice when I was a sergeant, which I am now, but at a station, saying to recruits, brand new connies out of the academy, unfortunately, you're going to work with people who aren't quite motivated. Just get through your 8 hours. That's what you've got to do.
And that's, I'll just go back a touch, and then I want to touch on that point that you've just raised. You march out of the academy, mate. Proud day, because for you, something you set, a goal that, and this had been a big goal to get to, and you'd had a little bit of failure along the way. Your dad and your brother comes down, and mate, proud day for you marching out that.
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah,
it was a culmination of a fair bit of hard work. I had to put my head down because I'm not academically minded. So, and the last thing I wanted to do was, there's plenty of stories going around the academy, and they weren't just stories, because you'd see people, well, where's Billy? No, resigned, too hard. Ugh. What happened to Smithy? Failed 2 exams, gone. So, there's people you get to know, then you wake up next day, they're not there. So, a bit of pressure on. Yeah, to graduate was great, and then, you have your final exam on the Monday, and it was probably our easiest exam.
Yeah, right.
Which was brilliant. I don't think anyone got under mid-80s.
Yeah,
I mean,
okay.
all of us, the study that went into that final exam was obviously pretty big. Then you're sworn in on the Wednesday, and what was the best part? Once you were sworn in, so the day before, they give you your uniform, but you're not allowed to wear it.
Oh,
so at the moment, you're wearing these, $2 blue, navy blue pants and probably $1.50 light blue shirt was just uncomfortable and rubbish.
Yep.
But then you get sworn in. Actually, no, you get into your clothes, you got a Victorian Police badge, you got your epaulets, and then you go into the chapel and then you're sworn in. And it's that was the moment. It's this is way cool.
Yeah, nice. And I want to touch on, I've spoken to a few police veterans now, and the TOs, mate, they either make or break a young police officer coming through. And you mentioned, you had Mandy, the first night. Did you have some good TOs throughout that first year probationary? Is it 12 months that you were probationary?
2 years.
2 years, right.
I had mine extended.
Okay.
There's another story. Yeah. But I worked out pretty quickly who to align to and who not to align to.
Yep.
You'd work your night shifts, and particularly I went to Melbourne City, which is the biggest station in the state, and on a night shift we might have probably 14, 16 people. And then you'd look at the night shift roster and go, this is going to be a whole lot of fun. As in, fun, you're going to be out, giving tickets to people who want, should have tickets. You're going to go out and catch some crooks. You're just going to have fun. Yep. And then other times you look at who you're working with going, tough 8 hours ahead. But again, get through the shift, just smile and wave. Because, some of these people were nasty people. And if you didn't, I'm not talking any criminality or anything, but if you didn't agree with them that the job is shit, well, then they'd go and tell their mates, and then their mates would start to shun you. For a young Connie, it could be, at stages was a little bit complex to navigate. But you align yourself, which I did, with some people that you can see were on the up, speak to the sergeants that had become detectives, and now they've taken their first sergeant spot, ask them questions, things like that. And I was never afraid to take things on. And I put in a brief one day against a crook. Brief wasn't too bad. The interview I did was pretty ordinary, but it was only interviewing's a complex thing. It's difficult to you know what it's like. I've got all the points of proof to tick off, and how am I going to go about this? And then all of a sudden, a couple of these new sergeants there decided to try and what's more commonly known as new sergeant syndrome. They think they've got to wield their power, and all of a sudden, I'm finding myself labelled as this troubled child. And my mates are coming up to me in the senior college going, "What's going on?" I said, "Mate, I don't know." And then I get this, come up the confirmation period, and then I get this letter from an assistant commissioner saying my probation's been extended for 12 months for lack of report writing expertise.
Yeah, right.
Okay, that's different. And then I went to the association about it, our union. I said, this is bullshit. Because if you look at the stats, all of my contemporaries, I'm either above most or only behind a couple of, like, as far as briefs done, people charged, penalty notices given, PBTs given, like, I'm through the roof. And they go, look, there's really nothing you can do, but I'll just point out, in this letter to you, there are 4 grammatical errors. So in a letter to me saying I got my probation extended, there was 4 grammatical errors. Okay, righto, whatever. But what happened then was I took a couple of years off playing cricket. And I started playing for a club called Caulfield. And unbeknownst to me, there was 7 or 8 coppers that played there. And then one of them, John O'Connor, who's one of the greatest blokes of all time, he said, mate, what's going on at Melbourne? Like, blah, blah, blah. And he goes, ugh, you want to come to Collingwood? And I'm like, Collingwood was one of the stations. Yeah. He goes, leave it with me, because he's a sergeant there. And then I reckon it was about a week later, I go have a look at the roster just to see what I'm working next, transfer to ACL. Holy shit, how did that happen? As it turns out, the actual boss of Collingwood, the senior sergeant, was acting inspector in charge of all the probationary connies in A District. So he just plucked me and put me there. And then as soon as I got there, sat down, head down. Like, I know I'm of a bit of siege mentality. One of the sergeants, Mark Bagley, again, great bloke, come up to me and he's just looking over my shoulder. I'm doing a thing, I'm thinking, what now? He goes, oh, yeah, what you got going on here? And then, but he wanted to know, well, A, do you need a hand with anything? But B, can we go do a warrant on him, or is this done? I'm looking, and he just looked at me and goes, yes, mate, things work a little bit differently here. And it was just like, it was just like being born again.
Chalk and cheese of the
like,
two. Yeah.
All the 2 senior sergeants were hard on us. Tough. But a couple of times we had members of the public come in wanting to make complaints over getting a penalty notice for speeding. Like, complain all you want. But they would protect us. Like, they were hard on us, but hugely protective. All the sergeants drove the senior connies, and all the senior connies drove the connies. So there's a real rank structure, but that helped develop, like when I got my senior connie hooks at Collingwood, I was pulled in the senior sergeant's office and given very clear directions. You're getting paid extra now, you need to earn it. Do you know what happens here? I said, yes, I'm well aware that the constables are my responsibility, and if they stuff up, the sergeants give me a whack. Correct. Awesome.
It's the way it should be.
Way to build leadership, way to build getting people to understand how to teach people instead of relying on others to do it. So even though my triggering incident happened at Collingwood, I still look back on that with it. I was there for probably 4 years, the best time of my policing career.
And for you, I know, because you and I have spoken off air a lot, and I know that you always said to me that you take the good of people and you take the bad, and there's lessons in both.
Yeah.
And then for you, these are great role models of how you would then eventually get into training positions and teach and go, I've learnt from the very best and I've learnt from the worst, and I mould in and get...
Yes.
And because as you know as well, mate, we've spoken about it, is leadership is not... There's no, one boot fits all in leadership. There's all different ways to achieve the same result.
Yeah, and that's like spot on. Like I look at people like John O'Connor, and I took many things from Jock. I'm going to replicate that when I'm a sergeant. I'm going to replicate that in my everyday life. But as far as being a sergeant, then conversely, what you're saying with others, like some of the behaviours towards me when I was at Melbourne by sergeants, I'm going to soak that in to make sure I never do that, because that is just rubbish.
100%.
And there's become an understanding where, like, I've worked with people who you put them in front of a crowd to speak, absolute hell for them. So you don't do that. But what they do, they go out on the street and they take young constables or young senior constables or young detectives with them, and they show them exactly how a crime scene should be managed, how to speak to people, all this. That's their type of leadership. They don't need to get up in front of people. That's not them. They do it by their actions. So, and that's where at Collingwood that was heavily promoted. So, and it was just so good because we'd get new constables coming. We'd only get maybe 2 or 3 at a time, 3 at the very most. Often we'd get 2 out of the academy because it was a small station. And it wasn't a boss's address, it wasn't a sergeant's address, it was a senior constable's address. And we were assigned, like formally assigned, like I had Nath Chilver for a while. Nath, you got anything, you come to me. And we go through this and we do this and we do this and we do this, which, that greatly not enhanced, because I taught me so much, but what I did know about leadership and management of people and things like that, it helped enhance that. So, and
I know it myself, mate. A little bit of recognition for the troops goes a long way.
Oh, huge.
And if you don't get it,
yeah,
I know as a troop, and you and I won't say it on air, but we've spoken off air about it. What happened to me?
Yeah.
You get very bitter, and you go, wow, it was just a transactional relationship. As long as I was getting you what you wanted.
Yeah.
That little, and I say this to anyone out there, any young police officer or, any fiery or ambo listens to this, recognition goes a long way.
Yeah.
It goes a long way.
And as small as, I remember doing a night shift with Lummy, great bloke, still mates with him, and we just had one of those nights. Just everything worked. We caught a couple of crooks, we got a couple of really good penalty notices, checked a heap of people, just did a heap of work. It was an awesome night. And then go change, go home, snooze, come back that night, and both of us got an email from the boss, Phil Shepherd, saying, who we both had enormous respect for, lads, just saw your running sheet from last night, brilliant night's work, awesome, just listed out, thanks, appreciate it. We're high-fiving each other going, how good's this? Like, we're not trying to get up the boss's arse. But we just did what we wanted to do. Yet there's that reinforcement that, I see you.
100%.
I'm acknowledging it.
100%. And that's why I say it, mate. It goes a little bit of recognition goes a long way.
And so simple to do.
100%. It's just
so incredibly simple.
Pull someone aside and say, mate, great job. Great job, mate. Well done. You're doing a good job. Keep going. Love it. And then you go, oh, awesome. I feel validated. Like I feel like the work I've done, I'm actually it's appreciative. And it's amazing how it's forgotten these days. It's very much forgotten. And anyway, I could talk for hours on that. But, mate, I want to go forward to an event that was tragic, 1998, and the murder of Gary Silk and Rod Miller.
Yeah.
You were on shift that night.
Yeah.
And, mate, what was that like hearing that two fellow officers that, are part of the Blue family were murdered?
It was my first introduction to losing a police member, and I was working with Andy Jackson. 211 was our call sign, so we're in a sedan, two sedans, we're going around, we're having a great night, and then the 265, the senior sergeant, just said, it's quite routine, either the sergeant or the senior sergeant would call you up, find out where you are, come and have a chat, sign your running sheet just to check that everything's good. And he said, where's 211? We were actually in the CBD on Swanson Street. All right, meet him there. And we'd heard a fair bit of commotion over the radio about C District. We go, something's going on down there. Never thought what it actually was. So Shane Penningle, he said, have you heard what's happened? I said, and we go, no. And he said, well, two of our boys have been murdered. And it was like whack. It was like, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to say. Because there was like two blokes that I'd never met, heard of, seen before, but because they wore what I wore, it hit really hard. And then the call come out to keep an eye out for a Hyundai Excel, dark blue, dark green, bloke, Middle Eastern, not Middle Eastern, Southern European with a ponytail, driving. I think that was the call. All right, well, we've got to continue shift because we can't pack up and go home. So we're driving, would have been down the bottom end of Spencer Street near North Melbourne, and sure enough, a dark Hyundai went past with a bloke with a ponytail. We've just looked at each other, and the heart rate and the adrenaline dump. So we went around, we pulled it up, I've got the gun halfway out of holster, and this is like 5 a.m, screaming, get out, get out, get out. And this bloke got out, and he did not have black hair. So we're just fixated on the Hyundai Excel, and he's just looking at me like, oh. And then I walked up, looked in the back seat, and there was a little old lady in the back seat, holstered. Sorry, mate, just watch the news tomorrow, you'll know what this means. And we went back, and then the next day, so we come off night shift on the Sunday, and Jacko comes up to me and he goes, do you realise where we pulled that car up? You know? On Silk Place, near Miller Grove.
Oh, shit.
Like
what are the chances of that?
Like the chances of it happening, like it's Silk Street, Silk Grove or something, but Silk and Miller have got those streets there. It's like freaky as. But then, you know, like it was, I remember getting home at 7 o'clock. We finished at 7, got home at 7:30, quarter to 8, rang Dad, just said, this has happened, it's not me, just letting you know. And he's like, yeah, okay, thanks for ringing. He's still asleep. And he give me a mouthful for waking him up.
Yeah, right.
Which is probably a fair call. Sunday morning, he's having a sleep in. No, that's before I told him what had happened.
Yep.
And then it just didn't sleep. I might have got half an hour's sleep, then back on shift and another 8 hours in the car. And you know, there's a lot of debriefs going on at the station, a lot of the senior members like the sergeants and senior sergeants speaking to us young ones, and getting a lot of phone calls from mates. Just want to make sure it's not, no, I'm good, mate, I'm good. And then, then the funerals, and like, it was my first police funeral. And one thing we do very well is death, because the funerals are just, they were massive. And like, as I was saying, like they held at the academy, and chockers, people outside spilling thousands. And then once the funeral's done, all the members walk down Viewmount Road and just line up, and the hearses going down, and the horses, and air wing over top, and pipe band, like
hair raising.
Coppers just in tears everywhere. Yeah. And then, but what's really special is the family sees it. The family sees how big this family is and how many people are hurting. So it was an extraordinary event.
Well, it's, you know, like you had the Wall Street shootings 10 years before that, and literally it was 10 years. Like, you know, 1988, Tynan and Eyre were murdered. And, like, you don't hear of this, mate, like Ned Kelly days of, you know, when that happened, of, you know, like police getting murdered, and Angela Taylor with Russell Street bomb. Like, these don't, like, they're rare events. When they happen, it's like, oh, you stop and, like, you know, like I was only little at the time. I don't remember it, but I've since read up on Rod and Gary's murder, and thank God they got the piece of shit who's Bendali Debs, rotten hell, you piece of shit, and you took away two good people off this, you know, that were doing their job that night,
just doing their job,
and
just straight out ambushed,
and straight out ambushed for no reason, just
so we get away with doing armed robberies,
and that's the, you know, and that's the thing, that it's the families that are often the ones that, and this doesn't happen, mate. Like this, so for you being, you know, seeing that, you know, this was a huge thing. Like, you know, especially, and you lived it, mate. You're on duty, and
it's, you know, psychologically it hit, you know, really hard. As I was saying, you know, like I'd never seen either of them, but certainly felt like I'd lost someone close to me. And then after that, the hypervigilance on shift was off the charts, and that's. You know, that's one of the good things that comes out of it, is that, you know, every car that I pulled over after that, unless it was pissing down rain, I touched the back of the car. And my fingerprints are on it. So, you know, like, and then it's funny when you speak to, funny, and I'm doing
I can see
air quotation marks here.
Yep.
It's funny when you speak to people that have got no concept of policing, and you say, you know, I've put my fingerprints on the car. What'd you do that for? Well, if they shoot me and they get the car, they've proven that that car was at the scene. People just kind of look at you and go, fucking what? So, yeah.
Or it's, you know, you write the rego down on the inside of your arm or something, something that you do, like that.
Identifying features.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense to like, you know, civilians, but, you know, approaching on a 45, or all these things that you do that you've learnt. Well, unfortunately, people have paid the ultimate sacrifice in that of, you had to learn these lessons the hard way. But that's right. Like it's doing these things so that people know, oh shit, he was there, or you know, and so that happens, mate. And that would have been a tough thing to go through, because as you lost your mum, but this is the first. You didn't know the guys, but this is the first time, and it wouldn't be the last because you lost other mates as well.
Been a few since.
Yeah, and what's that like? What's that like, mate? Because I know you lost a couple of others in motor vehicle accident. What was that like?
I was in Geelong at Dad's place, just chatting away, and then the news come up in the TV. Northcote van had rolled and hit a pole, and both were killed. And I'm like, again, you feel that hit, that like the tragedy when you. And then they showed Bates's face, and I'm like Mark Bateman. I worked with Batesy, I knew him. Then all of a sudden you're kind of thinking, shit, he's been killed.
He's not here anymore.
Yeah. And then I went, when I got back to work, I was speaking with the bloke with Fiona, who was killed with Batesy. That was his ex-girlfriend. So, and he's just sitting there with this ashen look on his face. And I said, mate, we can't make sense of it. Don't ask why. Because, and like the lessons out of, this stage, I'd grown a fair bit and learnt a fair bit with Mum's death. And like the last thing you do is ask questions, why? To me, that's going down a rabbit hole you don't need to go down, because it's not going to change anything.
And you're not going to get an answer.
You're not going to get an answer.
You're not going to know.
The answer is they crashed a car and both of them were killed. That's what happened. It's awfully tragic. And with Rod and Gary, they were murdered by crooks. That's what happened. Why? Well, they wanted to get away. Why? Because they were chasing after someone or whatever.
Yep.
So, and then it's like, I suppose you do become a bit complacent, driving. Like the worst thing is when there are an element of people who, once they put a uniform on, I think they become bulletproof. And I guess that's the same in all first responder agencies, the same in the military.
Yep.
No, you're not bulletproof. They still penetrate clothing, and if you crash that car, it's not going to protect you as much as you need it to. So, complacency comes in. Well, complacency comes in all aspects of life, I suppose, in every job. But, you get these reminders that are heavy reminders when people are killed or, seriously injured, and like their lives are changed forever through, decisions made, rightly or wrongly. I'm not saying either, but you certainly got to take care.
I know, and it's a good point you touch on, mate, is that life is precious, and so many people take it for granted. And it's like they say, "Oh, see you next week," or it's like, well, you might not, and there's only two certainties in life, mate. It's death and taxes. Yeah. That's it. The rest is all. It's
up in the air.
It's up in the air, and hope that you hope you see the person again, and that's where I sometimes say when people say, "Oh, my birthday," and and as both you and I have gone through our demons, I celebrate my birthday now, because I go, someone might not get to celebrate another birthday, or and when people write it off and say it's just another day, it's like, well, no, it's not just another day. It's a special day. It's the day that you were born. Celebrate it. And when people say, "Oh, after 21 it's all downhill," well, no, that's a perception of how you look at life. Like, if you look at it with a positive mindset and go,
there's plenty to go on.
100%. And it's like, and that's where I like that, where these things, they galvanise you and go, well, life is precious, and we're only here a short time, and you do what you can, and for you, mate, I want to go forward after that, and we'll get into the day that changed your whole outlook of life, and
a new timeline,
and mate, it was I'm going to just read it here. It was the 8th of April. 2003.
8th of April 2003.
Mate, talk me through this day and your new timeline after this.
Yeah, it is. I sometimes ask people, have you seen Back to the Future 2? And they go, yeah. I said, when Biff, was it Biff or Griff? Biff.
Yeah, Biff, yep.
Biff gets the sporting almanac and he creates a separate timeline. Yeah, this is the day.
Yep.
So, I was working with Lummy again. Like, it was funny. It seemed to be, we had a run, Lummy and I, when we worked together, we'd get a body. Like, it's just, we just used to joke about it and joke about it as in black humour.
Which is all in throughout.
Very, very important. Actually, I saw a cracking video on it last week and explained it really well. So, we were in Alphington, and then, got a call to a hot hanging. So, for the listeners who don't understand, hot means it's just happened. Whereas, we get called to a hot burglary. Okay, crooks are in the premises, let's go hard. Or a cold burg, we're not breaking any road rules to get to that. It's already done, dusted. Yep. So we get from Alphington to Collingwood, Sackville Street, pretty rapid. We work out, who's doing what, things like that. And then when we got there and walked up the stairs, and the deceased was, we found the deceased reasonably quickly. We had a decent look around the unit, deceased hanging there, and it certainly wasn't hot. He'd been there a while. And as quick as you can look and look away, that was me. So, blink of an eye, all-powerful Google says 0.33 of a second or something similar. I left the unit straight away, and I'd never reacted this way to a deceased person or a trauma scene as such ever before. And I went outside, and whoever went in and discovered the deceased had rang family and friends. So they started turning up, and I elected to give the death messages rather than go back inside. I just, not for me. And like the vision, that 0.33 of a second imprinted that site, took a photograph, and will forever be part of my memory bank. The whole unit, like I can describe the unit down to the cracks in the wall. Then Lummy, we spoke about it years later, and we spoke about it a fair bit. And he said, do you remember how long we were in that unit? I had no idea. He goes, mate, probably 6 seconds. Anywhere between 6 to 8 seconds before you left. And I'm like, phew. So that 6 to 8 seconds, I took in everything. I can describe that unit better than my own house. And it's, to just veer off for a tick, like it's amazing when you hit your trauma event or something like that, how much of a photograph your brain takes.
100%.
So, but my mental health literacy was pretty much non-existent. I am guilty of this. I remember saying to Dad, there was a footballer who took time away from the game with depression. And I said to the old man, what's he got to be depressed about? He's getting paid big coin to play AFL footy. Shit, he should be happy. So that's me. I'm one of those people. But I've since been educated.
I've been there myself, and since same as you, been educated,
And look, Lummy, he twigged straight away that I've not vibed with this scene at all. So he took care of all inside, the coroner come down. Like, he'd been there for days.
And I just want to highlight to the listener here too, mate, this isn't the first death you've dealt with. Like, this is a few years into your career. This is a fair way down the track since you've joined.
And a lot more traumatic scenes.
Yeah.
Like, a couple of the fatals I went to, I won't go into details because people just don't need to hear that, because you can't unhear.
Correct.
I mean, you can't unsee stuff, you can't unsmell stuff, and you can't unhear. And, like, I went to some fatals that were just out and out horrific. But I just go,
something about this.
I'm there to do a job. I've got to do my job. Because at the other end of this deceased person is a mother, is a father, brother, sister, wife, husband, son, daughter, etc. So they're about to go into a grieving period, which is going to be very complex to navigate, having been through it myself. So I need to do my job absolutely correct to make this as smooth as possible. That was always my thought for a deceased person. Yeah, but this day, and I don't know why. And again, I use a lot of movie analogies. For those people seen The Matrix, when I can't remember her name.
Oh yeah, I know the one you're talking. Yeah, I know. I can't think of a name either.
It's the whoever she is, and it'll pop into my mind later on. When they were testing the atom bombers, the first one tried.
Yes. Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah. I know the one. Yeah.
I can't think of her name, but when she needs to learn to fly a helicopter, they just plug the program into her head. The program to deal with hangings was never programmed into my head. That's the only thing I can think of. like clinically been treated since. Well, not since I fell over, and no psych, no person, even I've got expert insight into me. I don't know. I just don't know what it was about that scene, and people go, "Oh, was your bucket full and that's what tipped it over?" No. Because I went through my day books and I went to a fatal a couple of weeks before it. I don't even remember it. I was there because I've got all these notes, like pages and pages and pages of notes. I don't remember it. But this day, there's the date, SC Lum, and the deceased name. That's it. That's the only notes I took before I bounced out. So, with the mental health literacy being so low, didn't do anything about it. So what I should have done was go back to the station, do the paperwork, ring the because we had a wellbeing unit, we had a psych unit, we had that available to me, and I should have rang them, and then...
Hindsight's a wonderful
thing,
isn't it,
it's
mate?
Beautiful. But, there is... I don't know whether it's a strange thought, but it's my first treating psych asked me in the final session with her, if you could choose to have this, would you? And I've gone, that's a complex question. I said, on the real shitty days, no. But I can tell you I know a hell of a lot about me, more than I've ever known. And I kind of think of that now. It still impacts my life, but the amount of goodness that has come out of it.
100%.
Take one for the team. And so yeah, to get back to it, went back to the station, did the appropriate paperwork, did nothing about it. And then whenever me and Lummy got a body, which at that stage was fairly regularly, we'd just go to the pub, and I mean, there'll be some psychologists' heads that are just absolutely exploding, say we went and drank alcohol, smoked, and gambled. But that was our debrief. And it worked a treat every other time. And like we went, it was 2 or 3 drinks, maybe $10 through a pokey machine. That's it. Like, it's not excessive, but we're debriefing. Went home, like I messaged or rang the wife and said, had a body today, so I'll be home a bit later. Yep, cool, standard protocol. Subsequently, years later, we were talking about it at home. She said, there was something about you that night when you got home. You were different. You were noticeably different. Didn't want to bring it up. Let's just see what happens. But noticeably different, because it's just something about that scene, and that's what people ask, how do you know when you don't vibe with the scene? And I said, well, I don't think there are words to describe, if you get a cut, you'll see red stuff coming out, that means you're bleeding. It's not as simple as that. I just say now, you'll know. Because you'll go to a scene, and every deceased person I looked at, previous to that, was like, it didn't look real to me. And I'd say, well, it is real because I'm here and this person's not moving, and the paramedics have said, deceased. Cool, get into the job, do this, do that. But there's something about that day, and I don't know.
And as we both know too, each person has a different scale of trauma. What trauma is to know, and some people can have one traumatic incident in their life, others can have many trauma incidents that you had through, and you don't know, even to this day, you don't know what that was.
Don't know.
And you've been to numerous psychs that have said it's just something that day just triggered you. And I hate using that word triggered, but it was.
Yeah.
It was that. That was it. And that's it. It's you'll never know. And as you said, you take one for the team to the good that you've done in coming. And I want to talk about. We'll talk about that a little bit later. In speaking up and admitting you've got. We'll talk about that.
Yeah.
But so you compartmentalize. Just keep pressing it down. What happens after that event?
It was
with your career as well.
Yeah. So I wanted to become a detective, and that's since I was the academy. I want to be a detective. Collingwood was an excellent breeding ground for detectives. A lot of stations are, but because the sergeants were so good and the troops are so good, and so I end up getting. I can't remember the time between what I was like on the van between then, so it's April, and when did I get my job? In maybe January 2004, I become a detective. got me yellow Freddy. So your police ID when you're in uniform is light blue. Mm-hmm. When you become a detective, it goes to yellow. The yellow Freddy is what everyone aspires to. Not everyone. People want to become detectives. Got me yellow Freddy. I didn't celebrate the yellow Freddy. I celebrated the fact I don't have to go to deceased persons or trauma scenes anymore.
Yeah, right.
That was the primary. I mean, when you're talking about red flags, there's red flags throughout the next 10 years. Mm-hmm. So I wasn't pushing it down. I didn't feel stigmatised. I didn't feel I've got to harden up. I just did not know what was going on, what was growing within me. So I became a detective at a squad where we, responded to kidnappings, extortions, blackmails. Pretty cool spot. Mm. Again, no trauma, best part of it, not the yellow Freddy. Then, when you become a detective, you go to detective training school. It sounds funny.
Yeah.
But it's like, then it was 9 weeks, and it's intense. So, like, at the academy, I think we spent, a week covering theft, deception, everything. We spent, like, a week on theft alone at DDS.
Yeah.
Like, really going into case law and throwing up scenarios. Like, the classic one, which they say, all right, you lot, work it out. Say you're duck hunting and you shoot a duck, but a protester comes along and takes that duck. Is that theft? And we're sitting there going, oh, righto, dive into case law. And you have to really, these massive charts and spreadsheets and working. There's a couple of really famous pieces of case law which we still run on, and so we're doing all that. But then we get, week 5, 6, 7, I can't remember which week it was, coronial process. All right, so we're going, and again, now you're a detective, you're going into the coronial process a fair bit more. And we're going back to the coroner's court. All right, so this is where the academy one, which I was talking about, which I found so interesting, and I was pretty much in the front row. This one, I sat up the back and looked at my shoes for 45 minutes.
Red flag.
I am not looking at that deceased person in any way, shape or form. And even the videos, the crime scene photo stuff going through DDS, I just sort of look away. I'm not looking at it. Again, not stigmatised or anything. Like I'm not looking at that, and I just sort of look around. Okay, peripheral vision. That slide's gone, right? Back onto it. What are we learning about? So that progressed. Another sort of about 12 months later, I was seconded over to the Joint Counter-Terrorism Team, the AFP, for 6 months. Stayed there for 5 years, which was great because it was two of the biggest CT investigations the country has seen. So, which was a great time to be involved. This also, my lad was born in 07, my daughter in 08. I've still got, when you're involved in a CT investigation, there's some nasty videos and photos and shit you got to look at and read and watch and stuff. My body would start to heat up, and I didn't pay a whole lot of attention to it. That's subsequent. Hindsight's a beautiful thing. That's me having a little anxiety attack. It's my first sign of anxiety is my body heats up.
Yep. For the listener, CT, counter-terrorism.
Yep.
That's what Mark's talking about.
So, and look, if you're going to have anxiety, your body heating up, not a bad sign. Because my body will heat up before my brain actually knows I'm becoming anxious. So then when my body heats up now, I stop and I just take a breath. And I actually did it before when I started talking about going into the flat.
Yep.
I just pause for 5 seconds or so.
I saw that, yep.
Just settle. Right, now we go on.
Yep.
So whatever's, like if I do it, if I'm out in public somewhere and my body heats up, I stop and I just have a look around. I can very quickly work out what's starting to wig me out. And then I can calm myself down because I've got the skills now. On we go.
Yep.
And then look, it was a great job to be involved in. And like what was really good too was, later in the piece, it was 8 to 4. It was very solid. No night shifts, no weekends. But then like the sleep patterns were just historically bad. And my wife, and I still put the white flag up here, I was wrong, Dale. Yes, you were right. She said, you need to go see someone about your sleep patterns. They're horrible. I said, I'm a shift worker. No, you're not. You're working 8 to 4, Monday to Friday at the moment. You're not a shift worker. But that I just thought, because I'm a shift worker, because the brain's really starting to break down. And then after 5 years at TT, there was actually my boss there, Chris Murray. He said, you need to look at different walls for a little bit in 09. He said, how about you go to counter-terrorism coordination unit for 3 months? Yeah, cool. Yeah, no, fair point. Because I just need to do something different. And I was there, and about 2 weeks later, Black Saturday happens. So, and CTCU was in Emergency Management Command. So then I'm immersed in this. And, tragic in every sense of the word. 172, I think, killed, which was just extraordinary. But for me to be involved in that event, in that command at that time, was utterly brilliant.
Yeah, okay.
Learnt so much. Again, was able to do things to help people. I can't do anything about this event. It's happened. And even while it was going, we were coordinating a lot of stuff. And then I remember I was out with an AFP bloke, and this is no disrespect to him, he's still a mate, but because he didn't do community policing, he doesn't understand there's different sides of policing. And we were at King Lake, and the roadblocks are still up, pretty strong, and we dropped into this cafe to a can of Coke or something, and some locals, they had a couple of choice words to us, both in uniform, and I've recognised this, all right, these boys need to decompress a little bit. So I just grabbed my Coke, went sat down, and said, righto boys, what you got for me? They kind of looked at me and said, boys, if you've got a complaint, let me know, and I'll categorically guarantee you I will leave here, I'll go straight back, speak to my inspector, and I'll come straight back here. And they're kind of like, oh, well, there's these bloody roadblocks. They were blaming us for the roadblocks. I said, all right, I understand. I said, I don't understand. I can see where you're coming from. Those roadblocks are in place, and we're enforcing them that hard to keep the sticky beaks from Melbourne coming up here to have a look at the damage and seeing what you have lost. They're like, we're protect. I can see how you're getting annoyed because your friends and family who actually have a right to be here are having trouble getting through, but ultimately it's for us to stop sticky beaks come to look at your trauma.
Yep.
And then we sat down for probably an hour and just chatted away, and when we left, they were happy as they could be in that circumstance. But again, being given the opportunity to help people through their trauma, and that is the core reason why I became a copper.
And is that because King Lake was wiped off? It was
Marysville was.
Oh, Marysville. Yeah, sorry, I always get
King Lake got smashed.
Yeah, I always get those two mixed up.
But Marysville, I remember driving into Marysville, and it was like, I described it to a mate, it was like driving into a Harry Potter scene.
Yeah, wow.
There's no noise, because there's no animals, there's no people. There's only like 4 or 5 buildings, completely. Like, there's a lot of standing ones, but, with the porch burnt down or something like that. But for something like 90-95% of the buildings were gone, and you just stand there, and it's just wickedly quiet, like eerie as.
I now he's talking my, being a flyer, I know we had similar to that in Wimberley, made in 2013, and so many, there was over 200 homes lost, and it was just, the next day was just eerie. Driving out was just, there was, I'll never forget it. It was my first fire, and I'll never forget how ferocious it was. Yeah. Like, trees that were bent over with the force of the fire, just from being pushed, like, you would have experienced all that as well.
So we got the ADF involved. They come and help us, because we had to search these 2 large areas. We had to search every building.
Yep.
So I was part of the coordination of that. We got the ADF, who were brilliant. Once it's classified as a national event, it just unlocks so much more. And the ADF dude that I was rolling around with, he was a fiery from the ADF. It been Afghanistan deployments, Iraq deployments, and all that as well. So, and just a really nice bloke. And he was saying, the fire went really fast through here. I said, all right, I see burnt shit. Educate me. And everywhere we go, he's telling me what the fire was like when it went through. And then, what you just said then really reminded me of seeing trees bent over because the wind, the force of the ferocity of the fire pushed it over and just continued on, but just sort of singed them in place. Yep. It was berserk.
Honestly, mate, it's like, I know it's we're talking about your career as a police, but it's amazing that the two cross over in the sense
it's plenty of crossover,
and it's like for the civilian out there who doesn't know Mother Nature with a fire.
Or she powerful.
Or, it's just you're sitting there when you're in the heat of the battle, just going, "Oh my God, what am I doing here?
Yeah.
Like what the actual F?" And sometimes you just need to, like you say, pause and just watch what Mother Nature does and how it's just. Not beautiful is the right word, but it's
powerful.
It's just powerful to just sit there and go, "Wow, this is a force of nature."
Yeah.
Like, and so and with that happening, does that bring up trauma of what? Does that resurface with that or no?
There's only one. There's one place. The whole I was up bush for a month after, probably a week and a half in the response centre in town, utterly physically and mentally cooked.
Yep.
But there's only one place in out of Kinglake where I think 9 people died, and we were outside that house, and there was I think there's a baby died in there as well. That's the only Pine Ridge Road I remember. Mm-hmm. That's the only thing I'm like, it's just like I can't. My brain now makes videos.
Yeah.
Unwanted videos, but that's what it does as part of the trauma that's in there. But that's I was able to not look at the trauma so much of the fires. Like a couple of my mates are really mentally hurt, severely injured from the fires mentally. But for me, so I wasn't on the fire grounds when it was going. So I was up there post.
Yep.
So all the bodies had been recovered, things like that. So I wasn't exposed to the death toll, actually seeing deceased persons up there, and even then, a lot of the animals had also been
taken away.
Yep. So I just saw the sheer destruction, and so for me, I think my coping mechanisms were be more fascinated by this rather than impacted by it. And especially rolling around with that ADF bloke was awesome. It is what it is. Do our job and,
as you said,
move on.
With earlier on in the podcast, there's no answers to it. It's there's a fire, and it's like like Rod and Gary were murdered.
Yeah.
It's just
it's
just
happened.
An event that happened, and you got to deal with it, and we've got to restore normality the best way we can.
And I've got an ability to help people here.
100% is why you joined the police.
So let's help people.
See, that happens, and then, mate, I want to ask you this: of how was the support at home and from your bosses at this point of your career? Like you mentioned your beautiful wife, you're still with her.
Yep.
She's been your rock throughout all this, and the kids are, the kids are beautiful kids. How was their support in your recovery and your journey back to being, well again?
Yeah, well, at this stage, I'm still seemingly healthy.
Yeah, okay. Yeah,
so everything's fine. And look, Karen from the word go is very supportive of my career. And then, like I said to her then in 2010, I said I can either do a couple of things because the CT operations are winding up. I can either go back to a squad, a few night shifts here and there, mostly day, or I can go seek promotion to sergeant, which will be night shifts, afternoon shifts, twilight shifts. Let's go do some upgrading as sergeant, see how we go, and then got a position. But I found when I was back in uniform, so this is 2010, when I was back in uniform, if a call for a deceased person or a trauma seemed to come up, my body would heat up, and the heat was starting to grow a little bit. Still not recognising anything. Yep. And then the sense of relief if something happened and I didn't have to go there. So it's a real. And I remember there's someone died in the Hilton Hotel. I had to go to it, and I sat outside the room, and it's just, this is what fascinates me about the workings of the brain. I just bluffed my way through it that I didn't have to go inside. I was very fortunate. I had 2 very good senior constables handling the scene, and they just come out Right, lucky you done this. Yep, done that. Yep, cool. This is done. Yep, that. Oh, no, just about to do it. Cool. We're good.
Yeah, right.
So I am not going in that room. But I wasn't not going in that room because I felt stigmatised, or I just didn't want to see deceased people. Having no idea why I don't want to see deceased people, which is, of course, still growing within me.
You know now.
Oh, yeah, I'm well educated now. So, yeah, 2010, got a job, formally promoted to sergeant. Then mid 2012, my boss actually rang me on leave, and I'm thinking, oh no, what's my Coro crew done? Because Coro crew's like 6 or 7 constables and senior constables underneath. And he said, hey, look, would you like to go to the sex offenders registry for some temps? I'm like, hell yeah, because that's a detective sergeant spot. But it's not to go there to be a detective sergeant or an acting. As I don't have to deal with trauma anymore. So, red flag number about 450. So I go to SOAR, which was a fascinating position. Had a really good crew. One of the girls I'm still friends with to this day on my crew. A spot come up there, and a spot at Crime Stoppers, and I put in thinking, like the boss wanted me there, but for some reason I got put at Crime Stoppers and didn't get the SOAR spot, which ultimately probably saved my career. Because then I went to Crime Stoppers, Mick Bennett got the job there as the senior sergeant at the same time, and by far and away the best boss in the history of Victorian Police.
Yeah, okay.
Wow, that's a pretty big call, in my eyes. So then started Crime Stoppers early 2012. By this time, my symptoms are starting to rise quite substantially. Cricket, like I just think I'm not good enough to play this game anymore. I used to love St Kilda Road Police Complex was across the road from Botanical Gardens. So you got the Tan Track, which is a 4K loop around, which hundreds of people run it every day. It's one of the great runs in Melbourne. I'd do that every morning. And then I found myself, if I didn't beat the day before's time, I was just livid with myself. Like just these unbelievable expectations of myself.
So you're punishing yourself?
Oh, punishing. And then, but then I started going, I'd get to work, go, I can't be bothered. So then I started withdrawing from doing things that I like doing. I mean, duh. And then mates would ring up. To be fair, it's probably a little bit early. I started to withdraw from social circles. Just didn't want to go out. I'd get it on trains and trams. Where I used to love getting on packed trains and trams because it's a real human watching experience. See how people handle that. But then I'm the one starting to react to it, to crowds. I just didn't like it. I nearly want to physically vomit. So I started catching different ones. And if one was full, I'd just let it go. Oh, there's room in here, mate. No, she's right, mate. I'll wait for the next one. Again, not having any clue as to, dude, something's not right here.
Flags are coming up again,
best we go have a chat to a psych, but no, not me. So then, mid-2012, I was turning 40, and just as a throwaway line, I said, the Everest Base Camp's always been something I've wanted to go to. And I said, Jesus, it only costs like $2,500 or something for an Everest Base Camp trip. Just a throwaway line. Wasn't fishing. Like Karen might suggest I was. She goes, well, go. That's your 40th present. I'm like, you can't take that back. And then, so we diverted away from that because you've got to fly in and out of Lukla, which I'd be happy to do it, but Karen said no. I'm happy with that. She's allowing me to go by myself. I mean, like, we go away by ourselves. We do our own thing. Magnificent relationship. Like her 40th, she went to Napa Valley. I mean, seriously, stick pins in my eyes. That is absolute hell for me. Going to a wine valley? Oh, yeah, no. Absolutely not. So she does what she really wants to do. And, like, if I took Karen to Nepal, it's just not going to happen. So I go there in, I think it was September, and I'm peaking. My symptoms are really starting to elevate. And it was like day 3 or 4 into the trek. So I end up doing the Annapurna circuit. It's like 21 days. And I'm nestled in the Himalayas. No cars, no trains, no trams, hardly any people. Nepalese people are just beautiful people. nestled, like next to this raging river, snow-capped mountains. I'm in my room crying. And I got no idea why. Again, hindsight. Maybe a little bit of depression's come in. And a little bit, I mean a shitload. Shake it off. Got to have something to eat. And I just couldn't eat. And it had nothing to do with the elevation. Go on a couple more days and I am fighting with myself. Get to 4243, might be a place called Yak Kaka. And I go there and we go in the room and there's a bloke from New South who I was rooming with, Chris, really nice bloke. And I lie down in bed at night and I'm start to have this feeling, and it was my first proper, real anxiety attack. Ooh, good one. It was a real good one. And I'm thinking I'm going to die. And then I'm thinking, how the hell am I going to get my body back to Australia? My 2 kids are going to grow up without their dad. Like, I was absolutely convinced I'm dying here. Trek leader, Chris called out for the trek leader. He come in. He's obviously seen it before. He just very gently put his hand on my shoulder. Breathe. Breathe. Slow your breath down. Mark. Slow down. Magical hands and magical voice. So a couple of minutes I'm sort of de-escalated a fair bit. And he goes, shall we turn you around? And I'm going, yep. So he cut a porter loose the next morning, had brekkie, and actually I ate some brekkie, and it's like that decision was being made. I've had this, to use the word, I broke. I hate that. I hate that and mental breakdown. You had a mental breakdown. I despise the words. But then for those people who haven't got that whole lot of education, that's what they think it looks like. So I had a bit of a feed, said see you later to the crew, and by this time we've walked, 120, 130 k's. My feet were in pristine condition, and within 4 kilometres I developed this massive blister underneath my foot. I have no idea why, but I loved it because it was painful. But the foot pain was taken away from my head pain. Got back to Kathmandu, interesting bus trip and 4-wheel drive trip. Got there, jumped the Karen. I said to Karen, no, I want to come home. I was trying to hide and downplay it, but she sniffed it out straight away. Something's not right here. All the way back, from there to Kuala Lumpur to here. We actually flew into Sydney because Karen and the kids were up here. I said, as soon as I get back, I'm booking to see a psych. Something's not right here. Get back, and I'll do that tomorrow.
Hindsight, mate.
I got to laugh about it now. I'll be right. Worry about it tomorrow. And then the Sims just continue to climb and climb and climb. I'm going to say it's February 6th, 2013. I think it was a Wednesday.
10th of Feb. 10th of
Feb.
Yeah, 10th of Feb you sent through to me, yep.
Oh, yeah, that's the day I fell. But during the week, would the 6th been the Wednesday then? Or whatever it was, Wednesday?
Yeah, it would have been, yep.
Health and Safety Wellbeing Day at work. Crime Command and my command, Intel Covert Support. I'm the OH&S person, so I'll go along to this. So I'm sitting in the front row, and Joe Gartzes is up there, and Joe's a tremendous bloke, psychologist, but leads the peer support program for Victorian Police, still with us, brilliant. Be a great loss when he leaves. And he's got this slide up there, and he goes, I can still see him talking. Don't worry if you're ticking a box or 2, everyone does. What happens if you're ticking every one? Which I was. Literally ticking every box of the signs and symptoms of PTSD, depression, anxiety, which then puts you in the realm of suicide. Okay, that's not good. I developed this feeling in my chest, which I now know to be anxiety. I call them the devil's butterflies.
Yep.
I actually left at the next break and I rang the psych unit and booked in for the following Monday at 3 o'clock. Went home that night knowing I'm not in a good space. My brain was telling me you can't let the kids know this. They were...
Did they sense it though?
No, not that stage.
Okay.
2013, so they were 4 and 5.
Yep.
But my brain was also telling me you need to protect Karen from this, which is obviously the complete and utter opposite of what I should have sat it down and said, I'm in a bit of trouble here. Booked in to see the psych, but blah blah. Went to work Thursday. I'm going to go for a run. I can't be bothered. Go to work. I was fine at work. Mick never saw anything. Got home that night, put the key in the door, and nearly broke down. stopped, gathered myself, got to protect Karen. Friday, same thing. Saturday, same thing. Yeah, did I work? And then Sunday, I was working voluntary duties at the cricket. So you work on your days off. So we're single wage at this time, so a bit of extra cash. It was Saturday morning. I woke up at about 3 a.m. with the galactic level toothache. So I had to find a dentist. First stage of root canal treatment. So I am absolute cherry top at the moment.
Yep.
And then had that done, got home. Jet had Milo cricket. It's the other way around. So we went to his Milo cricket, so he's just started playing.
Mm-hmm.
And as we left, I nearly broke down. And Karen said, "Are you okay?" And I went, "No." And I'm thinking, the game's up here, she's got me. She goes, "Is your tooth that bad?" And I've gone, "Yeah." And I'm like, yes. Like, it just shows what the injured or ill brain does. It just feeds this narrative that's so wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And then went to the dentist after that, went home. Get up Sunday, so I go to the cricket, favourite game, Australia and the West Indies game, must have been game 5 or something, of the one-day series, the final one. I don't want to be there. I am hating the world. I've got a psych appointment tomorrow. I've just got to get through to that, and I'll be right. I'm thinking one psych session, and I'm going to be fine. About 250 deep now, so my original thought process of one, just a little bit out.
Yep.
And then later on the night, I'm sitting on the ground, so not working the crowd, so getting paid literally to watch cricket. No one runs on, which is great. And then I caught myself thinking, I don't want to be here. I don't want to be at the cricket. I don't want to be here. And I couldn't tell the difference.
Mm.
And I'm like, well, that hit me pretty hard.
Mm.
And it put me into a really confused state in that suicide was never an option for me. It was never a consideration because I know what it's like to grow up without a parent. So I can't let my 2 knuckles grow up without their dad by my own hand. What do I do here? Just get through the night. So cricket finishes. I'm thinking beauty, going home, and then of course there's presentation. It drags on, and I'm just going, this sucks massive. And then got home, I don't know, 11:30, 11:40 or something. And I'm thinking, yes, I've made it. This is great. I've just got to go to work tomorrow. Got a psych appointment at 3 o'clock. This will be fine. I put my head down at 11:55. And 11:57, I had what my first treater said was a catastrophic loss of self. Yeah. Which, that's what I asked her, what happened to me on that Sunday night last week? She said, you had a catastrophic loss of self. Sounds pretty epic. It's a mental breakdown. I hate those words, again, but that's what it looks like. I had this fairly substantial anxiety attack. I woke Karen up, gave her, and this is where it's really interesting. My normal human brain shut down. My policing brain kicked in. So I'm shaking, I'm sweating, I'm in tears. I grab my phone, unlock it, give it to Karen and say, ring welfare. And I can't remember what I said after that, but I said, ring welfare. Here's this. She ain't got a clue what's going on, aside from poor sleep patterns. So she speaks to welfare, hangs up, then the on-call psych rings back, basically told Karen to go check my work bag for my work gun, any weapons, hide drugs, things like that. So it's obviously a pretty heightened response.
Has to be.
Has to be, yeah, is the correct response. So that they don't know my history with Mum. So I could have had 20 guns in the house. They would never have been used. But they don't know that. So yes, correct response. So I then speak to the psych, and she said, Alex, what are we going to do with you? In a nice way. And I said, well, if I was working and I'm me, and I come here and speak to me, I said, you're going to hospital, champ. She goes, all right, you want me to organise it? Yep. Cool. So I stayed on the phone. The night shift senior sergeant come pick me up from Sunshine, and I remember him saying, don't worry, there's no entry on the running sheet, no one will know. And I remember looking at him and saying, mate, I couldn't give a flying fuck, who knows? It's just never been a worry for me. Like, I I feel sorry for people who keep it. If people keep it to themselves, but they're being treated as a person, that's fine. You do you. I'll support that every day of the week. But I'm sad. I don't think sad's the right reason. It's sad. It's frustrating. It's
probably more frustrating as someone who's gone through it as well.
Yeah.
But there's still that stigma around it, and it's so wrong. Like, it's, mate, I always say it in every talk I give or every podcast, mate, I wouldn't be sitting here talking to you now if I didn't put my hand up 10 years ago and say, hey, I'm in trouble, I need help.
Yeah.
I would not be, I'd be a statistic, I'd be another statistic, mate. I'd be a number. And people get shocked by that, and I go, why? I'm telling you the truth.
But that's reality.
That's real. I wouldn't be here. I would not be here. And same for you. If you said you wouldn't, but you don't know to the depths that you get to. And I get frustrated when people say, "Oh, it's weak to speak." And it's a great thing to bring in now, because anyone out there listening, it is not weak to speak. It is that old get a bag of concrete and harden up. Yeah. It's bullshit. It's absolute bullshit.
So that's all golden words, and it's 100% correct. And it takes more courage to stand up to it than it is to run away from it. Like this idea that just go home, drink half a dozen stubbies, you'll be right. Yeah, you're just doubling down on your mental injury or mental illness. So don't be doing that.
Yeah, because you never find an answer at the bottom of a friggin' bottle, and it's a depressant.
Yeah.
Right? And you know, both of us have done mental health training. Yeah. It's a depressant. It's going to send you further down into a more depressed state. So sorry, mate.
No, very relevant, highly relevant. And from the word go, I just didn't care who knew. And they dropped me at the hospital. Alex was there, met me there. I had one night emergency. My brother come up from Geelong to watch the kids, so Karen can come to the hospital. I haven't got too many memories of that night. Didn't sleep, but
it's all just a blur.
It's just a blur. Just it was essentially just breaking point. Like the post-traumatic stress, the depression, the anxiety just got to such a high epic level. And then I had a night in short stay unit at Footscray and looking for a bed at a psych clinic somewhere. And they asked me where, what's more. I said, well, if you can't get one close around here, I've got family in Geelong. So they found a bed at Geelong Clinic. Mm-hmm. So brother drove me down, and I thought after having this massive event, hardly slept, I thought it'd be a great idea to have a can of Red Bull on the way down. I'm not a coffee drinker, so when I have a can of Red Bull, which I am having now because I didn't have too much sleep last night,
that's why I'm laughing.
It keeps you awake.
Yeah,
it keeps me awake and get
a
a bit zingy.
I had a can of V on the way down, mate. So don't stress.
So I get to Geelong Clinic and they take me in, and brother made sure I was all squared away, and I said, right, thanks mate, I'll be in touch. And so I go into the room. There's a room with another bloke, and poor bugger, he was coming off meds and he was having a real bad time of it. It didn't bother me, but I'm just thinking, that must suck. Then I had the psych come and get me, my first treating psychiatrist, and there's a professor, I can't remember his name, of psychiatry, I suppose, and I am like the movie Pulp Fiction. I'm telling a bit of this story, a bit of this one, back to that one, over here. I am all over the shop. And at about 10 minutes in, he just stopped me, and he had me, my personality, and my injuries picked apart to a T. And like I wasn't disrespectful of the psych industry. I just never had anything really to do with them, and I'm like, whatever. And I'm sitting back going, respect. Yeah, you're pretty good. I cannot deny anything you've just said.
Yep.
And I remember saying, so what have I got? I was just very matter-of-fact about it. Because I knew something is... I had a fair idea, but I just needed to confirm. And he goes, post-traumatic stress disorder? I said, yep. And he goes, anxiety? Yep. And I've kind of gone, all right, cool. And he's gone depression. I've gone, hey, hang on. And it's interesting. I think it's a bit of self-stigmatisation. Like the PTSD and anxiety diagnosis, yep, cool, no worries. It's not like I want a patch and I'm going to stick it on my shoulder as a badge of honour. But the depression, I wanted to pump the brakes on that a little bit. It's like, I'm not too sure about that one. And then they said, we're going to take you to a new room. All right, sweet. You'll be in by yourself. And I'm thinking, beauty. But then I walked in the room and I just looked around. I've gone, I've just been put in a suicide-proof room. So I walked into the bathroom and just pushed down the handrail and it just collapsed. Okay. Well, there's a little bit of an awakener. Like, I understood that I'm in a bit of trouble here, but that really reinforced it. And again, like, did I tell them that there's no chance I'd take my life? I was having suicidal thoughts at that stage, ideation, but there's never eventuated planning. I guess I probably would have said that, but they're not going to take my word for it. So, yeah, stuck me in that room. Yes, and sat there for the next sort of week and a half. The worst night was the Friday night, but yeah, I mean, I learnt some stuff in there. The best one had, so people come in during the weekdays 3 times a day for different stuff. Like a dietitian come in one day. And it's all elected, you don't have to go to it. Oh, fuck, I went to every one. I'm not in here to make friends, not even shits and giggles.
You want to get better.
I want to get better. Mm-hmm. So that's one thing I'm very thankful of, and I guess that's just an internal mechanism. I had a thirst and a want to recover, because this sucks.
Yep.
I don't feel real good here.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Yep.
And like the worst one, actually, just to backtrack a little bit, the Saturday night before I had that catastrophic loss of self, I remember going to bed and I sat in between my 2 kids' beds and I had not a feeling for them. Like, my brain was telling me, if either one of these 2 needs my heart, they can have it. Not a second thought, you can have it. But I had disassociated that heavily from everyone. Karen, the wife, was the only person who made sense to me. And it still amazes me to this day that when some people, when they're disassociated, that's their safety place. That is my absolute hell. That I cannot. I saw a meme one day, disassociation, the coldest, most desolate place on earth. And I'm like, yeah, hell yeah. Yet other people,
yeah, they love
find that they enjoy it. Out of body experience.
But and this is where I love where you started to get curious in different ways to get yourself better again and start going down a different approach of things to get yourself there. And do you think that, as you mentioned, that you were at that point where you just wanted to get better?
Yeah.
Was that like an awakening to go, okay, I'll try anything to get better?
Yeah, and like I've always been very curious about everything. How does that work? And like, since diagnosis, that's quadrupled 100 times. Like, I just want to know how everything works. I haven't got the brain capacity to understand hardly any of it, but it's always a keen interest. And like, I was surprised early on in that first meeting. They said, now let's talk medication, and I'm like, well, let's not. And they're like, what? I said, well, if I'm juiced up and I walk out in a week, I don't know whether I've recovered or not. So let's. I said, I'm not saying no forever. Let's just see how far I can take this. Yep. So I made an instant decision in hospital. I'm not drinking again, so I haven't had any alcohol since. And I got Karen to bring the iPad down, and I was playing kids' games because I couldn't concentrate. I couldn't read a single line without having to backtrack. All right, I need to improve. So, Subway Surfer, dude jumping on subway cars, collecting coins and stuff. I'm going to teach myself to concentrate again. And then, like, I'd go into the psych sessions with, can't remember her name. And one day she said, geez, you're really strange. And I'm like, that's really cool. Like, that's exactly what I want to hear when I'm locked up. Pretty much involuntary, because I wasn't allowed to leave. But she quickly followed that up by saying, so many people sit in that seat and they won't talk. So I can't shut you up. She goes, and that's a good thing. And so I worked out really early, the more I talk, the better it is. All right, sweet, I can do that. But then it got on the Friday of the first week, one of the people that come in was about mindfulness and meditation. Cool, I'm all over it. Yeah, and again, to what you just said, I want to know anything and everything, and I'll try anything and everything. short of old mate slap me around the face with a tuna fish or something and sing these words. If there's some kind of merit to it, I'll give it a crack.
Yep.
So I was sitting in there, and I was the only one that went to this. And I remember thinking, do people not want to recover? Like, I don't know, you got this, like, it's a modality you can use.
Mm.
Oh, cool, you do you, I'm doing me. And I felt very calm and actually went to sleep. And when I woke up, it wasn't long later, she goes, ideally you don't want to go to sleep, you want to keep yourself in that deeply relaxed. I'm like, yeah, cool. Ooh. I'd heard of meditation before. That was the first time I'd heard mindfulness.
Mm-hmm.
All right, cool. And she spoke about have a really hot shower, not so it's scalding, or a pure cold shower on the back of your neck.
Yep.
And just concentrate in the water and help ground you. And then I went back, Friday night, no worries. At about 6 o'clock, I thought I'd already bottomed out, but I felt myself going further down the rabbit hole, and I'm thinking, oh, it's not good. Oh, I don't feel good at all. I'm going to try mindfulness. I'm going to have a hot shower. It's a psych clinic, mate. They haven't got hot water. It's lukewarm at best. So I go in, turn the hot water on. Of course, it's lukewarm because it has to be lukewarm, because if you had really hot water, people could self-harm. And being a massive sook for cold water, that was never going to happen. So then I basically bottomed out. This was me hitting the bottom. So I was past. I wasn't crying. I was past that. I sat down. The shower's sitting like it could be a movie scene. Sitting there with my knees against my chest, and like it is the most powerful realisation I've ever had. It's like, I know why people take their lives, because it is just not sustainable to live in this amount of mental pain.
Mm-hmm.
Like it was, there's only X amount of people, like you're sitting there going, yep, because you know.
I know. I've been there. I've stood on the edge of the
Yeah.
cliff. Yep.
When that, like, I don't know, I've not heard any words to describe what that pain feels like. What's your best go at it?
Fuck, now you've put me on the spot. It's...
I just say, just like a galactic level of epic pain.
I'm never going to cry, mate. I haven't got an answer for you, mate.
Yeah.
I don't know.
People that I've spoken to, someone out there may be able to come up with the appropriate words. I've spoken to, probably a dozen people who, yep, it's like if we had a club, we'd have that secret handshake. So once you've had that secret handshake, you know you're part of the club, can you actually describe, can you put into words what that feels like? No.
Yep.
I don't know. I cannot.
You can't. You there's no... It's... And I say it all the time, mate, to people, and, unfortunately, people who are successful, and it's a question I often ask, well, if we could ask them, they've obviously passed away, did they actually want to die? And I'm asked that question a lot. Did I want to die? On reflection now, no, I didn't. I just wanted the pain to stop.
Yeah, just wanted the pain to stop.
That's what it was. It was not... Yeah. And that was the only way that I thought the pain would stop. Yeah. And I didn't think that there was any other way out but to end my life. And I'm sure if you asked every single one of those people that have taken their life, they wouldn't want to kill themselves. They just want that pain to stop. That mental pain of that, the black dog that sits on top of you, and that fog. We'll get back to you. Like, I know for myself, when I made that decision, mate, the fog cleared. Yeah. I was ready to go. Yeah. I knew I was 100% certain in what I was about to do, and I was at peace with it. I was at peace, and I knew, I'm like, this is it. This is it. And then I had my moment of where my late nana spoke to me and said, step back and pick up the phone, and that's hence why I'm here now 10 years later. But it was that I had total clear fog of, I knew that I was at peace, and I was like, I accept. I'm like, when people say they have a near drowning where they go, I surrender. Yeah, I surrendered. Yeah. Like you got to that point as well.
I like that story how your nan, your late nan,
mate.
I love that.
The clouds parted, the sun shone on me, and she said, Adam, stop, step back, pick up the phone, and make a call. And that's the reason, mate, that I'm here today. And then the clouds closed again. And people go, that's bullshit. I've gone, were you there? No, you weren't. I was standing at the edge of that cliff, and that's what happened. And I look people dead in the eye and go, that's what happened. And they go, shit. And that's the moment that I realised I was in trouble. And it was that moment of clarity to go, I'm in trouble, I need help. And my mate, thank God, picked up the phone and spoke to me for 4.5 hours. And hence, mate, why I do the podcast. But I've never been asked that question, even from a psych, I've never been asked that question, mate, of explain it, and I can't. I can't explain the pain.
And it goes along the same lines as, like, what was it about that day, the hanging that I went to, that I don't know what it is. I don't lose any sleep over it. I would like to know. I'd like to come up with words that describe it. I don't lose any sleep over it. Maybe they'll come to me, might come to you one day. In 20 years' time, you send me a text. Hey, I've got it.
I got it, mate. But yeah, I don't know. Yeah.
And like to put that into, I remember sort of like contexting about how long it took me 10 minutes to get off the ground and call a nurse. Now, and I don't say this to pump my own wheels up, but I broke my right hand playing cricket one day, and then the week after bowled 20 overs with the bone separating each time. That was painful.
I was just about to ask this.
I just basically said to my brain, all right, this is going to suck. But you know what? In a couple of hours, it's all going to be done. So just smile and get through it.
I want to ask you this. In that 10 minutes, were you physically exhausted getting up? And
knackered.
Yeah.
Absolutely cooked.
Asking for the nurse? Yep.
So, like, I remember telling myself, get up, get up, get up. But I was just so weighted down by that pain, I reckon would be the best way to describe it. I just could not physically get up. Whereas, X amount of years earlier, this extreme pain going through my hand every time I bowled a ball, 6 balls and over for 20 overs, just do it. All right, cool, let's do it. And now I can't even get off the ground, press the button.
Yep.
Right. So, end up coaxed me way enough, dried off, got dressed, jumped in bed, pressed the button. And one of the nurses, one of the things I've always regretted is not sending her a card saying thank you. Because I got along with her really well. She had a knowledge of first responders and our culture and the way we want to be spoken to. Don't cuddle me, just tell me. And that's what she was really good. And then she come in, she just started laughing. You look real good. Perfection. Absolute perfection.
There's the black humour.
Like, don't come in going, oh, what's wrong? Are you okay? Well, fucking clearly I'm not okay. A, I'm locked up in a psych clinic, and B, have a look at me. I'm not in good shape. So why ask a question like that? That's what I...
Yep.
So when she come in, started smiling, pretty much laughing, you look real good.
Sorry, I'm laughing.
Oh, no, it's gold. But that is perfection
100%.
For me.
It's black humour.
Absolute perfection. Then she came and said, look, she goes, what's going on? And I spoke to her and I said, well, this is that. She goes, all right, can I give you a Valium? She goes, it's not psych medication. I know you don't want that just yet. It's a muscle relaxant. It'll just help you calm down. She could have said, can I give you a shot of heroin? And I probably would have taken it. Like it was, get rid of this pain. I don't want to be here, but I've got to be here. So I'm trapped in this, like I'm trapped in the Matrix kind of thing. And then she come and give me a Valium. Austin Powers Gold member was on. Felt like I floated into sort of just floated into a cloud. I got all warm, and then I just went to sleep. And I've got a pretty healthy addictive personality. I've got Valiums stashed around the joints, but it's in case of emergency only. Because, they have to be... you can see how people get addicted on them so easy.
Oh, 100%.
Like, it took me from just that incredibly heightened... It's funny, it's kind of across words, heightened space where I was so low, but it's not height, to just feeling very peaceful, calm. Woke up the next day, it was the best sleep I'd had for Christ knows how long. But critically for me, which was, and this is a moment, I needed to see the kids. So I remember texting Karen saying, I need to see you and the kids. Which was a real that to me was like life threw its best at me and it bottomed me out, but now I've taken the power back. I got through your little game. You didn't get me. I'm still here. What do you got for me now? So Karen, the kids come down, had a pretty good visit. It got to a point where I said to Karen, I'm peopled out. I'm done. She was completely understanding. Then, over the next couple of days, I got out of that critical zone pretty quick. Like, that's one thing. Like, there's so many things I'm incredibly grateful for over the whole journey, but not sitting in that critical space for days, weeks, months. Well, I would have got on the medication or, something to get out of it. But having had a nice little taste of it, I actually constantly remind myself of that feeling, because it is a very good motivator to not drink, to exercise as much as we can, eat well, be mindful.
Yep.
I should do more meditation, but my mindfulness is really good.
So
just little bite chunks.
Did you end up conquering that fear of the coldness, mate? And do you...
No, I'm still a huge sook. I've got a cold water tub at home.
You got an ice bath, yeah?
Yeah. So I got that in June, and like, as something that sucks so much, I love it.
Yep.
But then I've got to find a way to keep it cold, because it's not. So during summer, like, you jump in, it's like 20 degrees. Well, what's the point?
Yeah,
so,
I did one yesterday, mate, and I did 16 minutes. So, and it was I was actually caught up with the New South Wales Police veteran I was telling you about, and we went to the SCG, mate, and I went and did a spa and an ice bath, and mate, people were like, what? 16 minutes? How? And I just said, it's all up here.
Just sitting there, embracing it.
Just embracing it, going, just breathe, focus on your breathing. Yeah. And it's funny how some people go, and this is where I say people are, they're ignorant to it, is, it's stupid, you're just putting yourself through. No. What it does for up here, for my mental health, and you know it too, it's something that if you've got anxiety, you're focusing on your breathing. Breathing is a big thing to do with anxiety. Takes away your anxiety. It's what it does. The cortisol that's pushed around your body. It's amazing what it does, and it's good for immunity. It's good for information. The benefits are, mate. It's not just something that elite athletes do. Honestly, it's been a game changer for me. Yeah. It's been an absolute game changer.
Can't wait to get back into it.
Yeah. So
once it's cold, and I think I'm going to freeze like a number of 2-litre water bottles. Yep. I mean, I could go buy a bag of ice every day, but this is going to get quite expensive.
$25.
Yeah,
so $25. I just a couple of days ago I bought 6 bags of ice for $25. It's and you do. I'm actually thinking about upgrading to those. The little the pod ones now that you've got the little box beside you. Because, mate, it's an expensive thing. Yeah,
it's so good for you.
It is, mate. It is, and that's where I want to talk, to people, and we'll talk about mental health now. Is it's a good avenue to go down. Is with you having that open approach to the holistic approach, I guess, of not just and with the work that you've gone on to do with mental health and talk about mental health, like. For people out there who are struggling, mate, the best bit of advice you could give to them is have that open mind to don't just shut yourself off and go, no, that's not for me. I'll just go down the clinical path of medication, psychs. I still do that as well. And I say it now. I go every 6 months. I go and see my psych. I go and I call it the oil change and the rotation of tyres, and then that's it. We go back to mechanical days. So check in, bang, yep, good. Okay, mate, see you in 6 months. Not a problem. Thanks, mate. Don't just switch off and go, no, the holistic approach doesn't work. Meditation, mindfulness, breath work, ice baths, exercise, nutrition, all these things that, as you know, when you're in it, they all fall away.
Yeah.
And you go to eating shit food, drinking alcohol, all this shit. So would that be your advice, is don't close off to that holistic approach?
Yeah. Anything you can do that can help you, why wouldn't you do it?
Exactly.
And that's, you got to have the eyes open as well. Like, yoga. Okay. yoga, whatever. Like if people want to do it, fine. Growing up, I heard about it.
Yep.
Not for me. No. Never really sort of thought about it. But then Tristan Rose, former in the Commando Regiment, started Blind Tiger Yoga.
Mm-hmm.
And then with the foundation, which touch on later on, we started going, okay, people want to go here. It's open as free for first responders with military. And that Tristan was very kind to open up to first responders as well. And it was just through me, like, becoming aware of it. Okay, cool. Let's give it a go. Like, it'll cost you an hour of your life.
Mm-hmm.
So then I go there and we'd messaged a little bit. So I got there, introduced myself, him and Ross, who was running the Altona one as well. Hey, how you doing? And it's all ground-based to help the vets that are, got leg and back injuries and that from Afghanistan and Iraq and other places around the world, of course. And start off with yin yoga. This is really cool. This is really good. I've always stretched a bit, just through playing sport, the importance of stretching. I thought, this is really cool. Yeah, I like this. And then, we're going to do yoga nidra now. All right, well, what's nidra? Oh, it's just lie back. And then Ross is talking. I'm out. He just put me to sleep. Because it's just in this such incredibly relaxed state. Yep. And then we wake up, just a little sort of tap in the foot, and I'm like, whoa. So any time I did that, I wouldn't drive for 15. Like, inevitably we'd go have a feed and have a bit of a chat and things, but I wouldn't drive for 15, 20 minutes after it because I was in such an unbelievably relaxed state. I'm not sure I'm going to react to a threat or a car coming through an intersection or whatever.
Yep.
So I'm like, oh, geez, okay, that's really cool. Yep, that's another one for the toolbox. And then Ross, the veteran, he posted this video one day. I've gone, right, mate, talk me through this. What's this? I can't remember what it's called. Well, I do. It's just escaped my mind. It's like not Tai Chi. It's something else. I said, all right. He goes, hey, come around. So actually, I met him in a park, started doing it. God, this is so cool. So it's like it's a movement meditation. So I don't do it all the time. It's just if I wake up and I'm a little bit down, right, bang.
It's not Qigong, is it?
Oh.
Is it Qigong?
Could be.
Qigong yoga, yeah. I know a good mate of mine who's ex-SAS does it. He swears by it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he's a teacher and he said what it does for him.
Yeah.
I think what you're describing sounds like Qigong.
Sounds like that.
Yeah.
I think it is that. So I then it's a normal routine now. So if I wake up, shit, I'm low. Because the first thing I do when I wake up is just a quick self-check. No. Ooh, going to be a long day. All right, away we go. And I've got a very specified routine of what I go through.
Yep.
So then I'll go to work. Then we've got a gym at work. But then I'll go in the outside area. And then I put on, there's 3 Linkin Park songs I've got, one after the other.
Yep. Good band, mate.
Oh, grass band. And, some people suggest that you shouldn't have any music or anything. You just can't. No, because I have these songs which I've now matched to the movement, and I go through that, and inevitably I come out of it. I may not be feeling great, but I'm feeling a hell of a lot better than what I was 15 minutes ago.
Yep.
So that's that.
That's that mindfulness you're talking about.
It's the mindfulness and meditation, but it's also that the opening the eyes, open your mind. There's other things you can do. And like I was so happy to see it one day. I was having lunch or having a feed with my daughter. Some Indian, something chicken, not lemon, brain's not working. But she's taking a little bit and she's closing her eyes and she's eating really slowly. And I thought, I haven't told you to do that. You are just now naturally, very mindfully eating your food. I'm like going, oh, so good. So like, typically speaking, and I am still a bit of the quicker we can get it in, the better. And that's just habits. But then sometimes I'll slow down and really concentrate. Again, it's just a little thing, but you do a lot of little things well.
Yep.
Then overall you're going to be a hell of a lot better. And being open. I mean, I get not everyone's like us in that we sing from the rooftops and do podcasts, and you obviously host the podcast and you talk about these things. I understand not everyone's like that. Everyone's journey's their own.
That's right.
But it's just so critically important that you are open to someone. So it's the first and foremost, I mean, you can do all the meditation and all the mindfulness and all that, but I think critically at that start you need to be treated by a psychologist or a psychiatrist.
Yep.
Now, if it's trauma, you need to find a trauma-informed one that is good with trauma. If you are like organically, so like I put in sort of two buckets, the organic growth of mental health conditions, also the trauma-induced.
Yep.
So whichever one it is, find that psych that is good at that.
I'm glad you said that, mate, because it took me 3 years. And I use the analogy, finding the right psychologist is like, it's like speed dating. You have to find the right one that fits for you.
Yeah.
And you might go, you look, oh no, you're not for me. No, you're not for me. And then finally you go, actually, we might have a coffee date. And that's what it is. You've got to find the one that went, and it took me 3 years.
Yeah.
And I almost, mate, gave up. I was like, I'm not going to find. And then I walked into mine, and I still see him now, and he just
bang,
mate, shoots,
double
barrel shotgun, bang, straight at you. Just, mate, you need to get out of your own shit. And I was just like,
oh, cop that.
Wow, thanks. That's just in my face. But it's what I needed.
That's what you needed.
I needed that, and I was just like, and you, as you say, you got to find what works for you, and it's, you got to find. And then, mate, and I'll say this, then you got to do the fucking work.
Yeah.
And it's fucking hard work. It doesn't just happen that, this is a quick fix, have the green whistle, bang, you're good to go. No, this is a long process.
It's consistently hard work that is going to have bumps in the road.
100%.
Just accept it.
And as you said as well, we go to the, if we break our arm, we go to the doctor. Yeah. We get we go to emergency, we get a cast on it. Our mental health is exactly the same thing, where it's a muscle. It needs to be flexed every day. It needs to be, you need to be doing the work. Like, people go to the gym and work out every day and want a six-pack. Your mind's exactly the same. Yeah. It's a muscle. It needs to be flexed.
It needs to be worked.
It needs to be worked.
I remember, like, several years ago now, but I woke up and I was feeling shitty, and I'm like, I had a little bit of a negative attitude snuck in, and I'm, shitty at the world, this is bullshit. And then, the more stronger part of the brain, hang on, champ, what have you done the last few days? You've eaten shit, you've had hardly any water, you haven't exercised. Well, here's your medicine, learn from it, move on. And like no one's a bigger critic of me than me. And like, I sat there and I've gone, fair call, all right, smarten up. Because there's consequences to your actions.
100%.
And those of us that live with mental health conditions, if you don't look after your physical well-being, your mental well-being is going to get smashed.
100%. And it's a very steep, quick slide that you go, and I know I've been there, mate, in the last couple of months, and I've only just got myself out of it, back to being exercising 6 days a week, eating right, drinking, and it's very easy to go and eat crap, and mate, the body keeps score.
Yeah,
it does. It keeps a score and goes, "Hey, champ, hey, you want to feed me shit? There you
Cop
go.
this,
cop this." And it's and mate, look, it's like you, and I've spoken to you off air as well. Is that not all days, mate. Not all days are roses. There's it's not all unicorns and rainbows. There's days that are shit, and I use the analogy, life's like a heartbeat rhythm. There's times where it's up.
Yep.
And it's amazing, and everything you touch is gold. Then there's times where it goes down, and it's shit. But I know now through my own work, and you as well with your work you've done, the good times, embrace them for as long as you can.
Yeah.
The bad times are going to come, but there's good going to come again. It's shit. You're going to sit in the shit. It's going to suck, but then eventually it's going to and. The sun's going to come up the next day. It's going to rise again. You get and I love the analogy of what the Special Forces use of. It's a daily renewable contract. Every day, mate, we're here is a new day. You've got a chance and an opportunity to rewrite the story. And it's that chapter's closed. Right, write a new chapter.
Next one.
Yes, that's how I look, and that's how I look at life now. It's and that's how I know the work that I've done. And there's some days where I sit in and go, okay, I've woken up, today's shit, I don't know why.
Yeah.
I'm just sitting in it. I don't know why I'm sitting today, but there's a lesson that I need to learn from this day. Or it could, like you, and I say this to anyone out there, it's Mark and I have done the work to understand the signs and triggers, and I hate that word, but I have to use it, that, okay, we're sliding, okay, we need to catch it before it gets, before we end up back in, and that old, where the frog analogy, where he wants to get out of the thing, and then eventually the other frog's pulling back down because he's nearly at the top, and it's that same thing. Where we catch it before we slide.
Before you slide.
That's right.
And like some days you wake up and it's a shit day for no other reason. It's just a shit day.
That's right. And
you've done everything right. You've drank water, you've exercised, you've eaten well. All right, I'm having a bad one. So be it.
That's right.
And it's just accepting that. And the more work you do on yourself, the better you get to know yourself. And this was, I reckon, about 6 months ago. I'd been on a low for 4 or 5 days, which is probably about as long as mine are now.
Yep.
I still did everything I needed to do. It's just you're just doing it with a bit of a cloud over your head and little sort of little black dog nipping at your ankles. And I went to work one morning. All right, cool. I sat in my position, and I sat there, sort of legs crossed, arms there, and I'm just going, righto, I'm going to fully embrace this, and I'm going to sit in it. I was discussing, you talk about when you get your good psych, like Chris, my psych, he's awesome. And he goes, whoa, the fuck you mean sit in it? I really want to explore this. So, like, he was learning from me now. And I said, well, when I say I sat in it, like, I'm sitting there and I embraced the pain. And I bring it in and I gave it a cuddle. And I'm like, and then I just had this thought, I'm not ready to come out of this yet. So then I put some music on, I did half an hour stretching, no worries, went to work. The next morning, did the same thing, sat down, actually the backstory, I call my conditions Bob. Everywhere I go, Bob's with me. And it's classical. Like if I'm presenting to coppers or fireys and paramedics, which I have done, they just sit there and they nod and they smile, they... couple of private industry groups, they just look at me and say, hey, you stark raving lunatic, mate. You got an imaginary friend? Hell yeah, I have. He's called Bob.
Well, Nen's on my left shoulder mate, every day. Yep.
And then at the moment, Bob's sitting over there beside the fan. He's, how you doing, champ? You all right? But because I'm doing everything right, he stays away.
Yep.
But then, for whatever reason, Bob was giving me a pretty good cuddle. So instead of Bob cuddling me, I cuddled Bob and I brought him right in. And I said, what do you got for me, champ? And I was actually, in my mind, I was talking to it, and I was feeling the pain. I was trying to find the source of it.
Yep.
And then I've just gone, I'm good to come out of this, and I just felt my body relax. And again, that's one of those things that science cannot prove any of that. And a lot of people go, mate, you are a genuine lunatic.
No, I get it.
No, it's because I know me. I know me so very well in my body. And I know my moods, and I know when Bob's nearby, and I know when he's giving me a cuddle. So, but again, we're talking about opening your mind to different stuff.
Correct.
So as long as it's, like I cannot wait for the day when cannabis oil and that is just mainstream, or ibogaine, or ayahuasca retreats are available and open, legal in Australia.
Yep.
Like, particularly, I think it's ibogaine. Like, some of the stories coming out of the US, like, US soldiers just completely shut off a life, like, handfuls of pharmaceutical pills every day. They go down to Costa Rica, because it's illegal in America, and they come back, and all of a sudden, they're working. Their relationships are through the roof. They're healthy. I can't wait for the day that comes in. And again, that's, you got to open your mind up 100%. To go have full ayahuasca trips and things 100%. Like that.
Yep.
But I would 100% do that because, okay, is there a 1 or 2% chance this is going to improve me? Yes. Is it legal? Yep. Let's roll.
Yep. 100%. Mate, absolutely. I think, and this is the thing, mate, there's, mate, the suicide rate's getting higher and higher. Like 9 people a day are taking their life. Mental health isn't going away.
No.
It's getting worse. And if there's a way that we can bring these, this, out of the box thing, these practices that we can bring in and they can help. Why wouldn't we do it?
Yeah.
Like, I'm sorry, and it's it's like we give medical marijuana to cancer patients for pain. Well, hang on, mental health's it's a pain. Why aren't we? This is the thing that I look at and go, well, if it's going to help and it's going to stop, the psychologists that are their books are just overflowing at the moment.
Yeah.
If it's going to help,
why wouldn't we do it?
Why wouldn't we do it? It's proactive. Let's instead of being reactive, let's be proactive. Get on the front foot of this. But mate, what do I know? I'm not a politician, and I'm probably glad I'm not a politician. But you know what I mean. You know what I'm saying.
I think we're getting better at it. And then I look at blokes like Tom Boyd, who was on a $1 million contract with the Western Bulldogs, won a premiership, AFL premiership. I think it was 2 years later, walked away from the game because it wasn't healthy for him mentally. Like, a lot of people would go and they felt sorry for Tom. I'm celebrating Tom, going, dude, that's awesome.
Yep.
You have literally walked away from $1 million contract to look after yourself. Like, the epic level of self-care there is just brilliant.
You don't think of the pressure. Like how
immense.
Naive I was at the time, when Greg Inglis stepped away from the game.
Yeah.
And I went, what's back in what's he got to be, he's on 700,000-800,000 a year, gets to throw a footy, do what he loves. That's how naive I was at the time until it happened to me.
Yeah.
And I went, I get what I get it. I get it. You're not happy, and the pressure that you have to perform, far out,
large.
It's huge, and and this is when sporting stars come out and say, hey, I'm not great. I actually now celebrate and go, thank you.
Oh, that's awesome.
You're actually helping.
It's brilliant.
To actually
setting that example.
There's a problem, and it's not. Don't just walk by and the standards we walk by are the standards we set. Cool. If they're struggling and we go, whatever, it's just a sports star. Well, how are we going to make change at the grassroots of where we need?
And influencing kids is everything. And like the amount of positives that have come out of my experience, there's plenty of them. But like, two of the best ones, probably the highest for me because they are my kids. I eventually got onto medication after 2 years. So I just plateaued, and I was on meds for a while. Then I got off. I just wanted to see where I was at. All under clinical supervision. Yep, cool. And for about 4.5 months, I was gold. Beauty, I'm away. Might have to have them again one day, but not for a while. Then I just started to tail down a little bit. So I started doubling down on me, mindfulness and all that. They got to about the 6 month mark, and I was cooked. Left work, super supportive boss.
Yeah, I was just about to ask that. Yeah. You get back to work, and
they're super supportive. And then I'm sitting at home, I don't know, 1 o'clock or something, and my lad gets home at 3 after school or something. He goes, what are you doing home? I said, my head's no good, mate. All right, want to play COD? Yeah, righto. Just goes, dumps his bag, changes, comes back, sets up the PS5 controllers, and we start playing COD, because that's one of the things we do. We play COD.
Yep.
And then daughter gets home. Oh, what are you doing home? Your head's no good, Peanut. Oh, you want anything? No. See out if you do. Complete normality. Just unbelievably normal behaviour, and how they both responded, both knowing that I'm not in a good place.
Yep.
Everything normal. Do you need anything? No? All right. Let me know if you do. That beats everything.
100%. That's what I want to talk about, in a minute, how supportive the family was in your recovery. You get back to work, and now, as I said, you're still currently still serving today, 29 years. Do you think having that support of your family and your work is another reason why you're still in the job today? Another reason you're in the job today?
Yeah, both the only reasons. I mean, yes, I've done the work. I mean, you can have the greatest support structure around you, but unless, as you said before, unless you are willing to put in the yards, you're not going to recover. So, fortunately for me, as I said earlier, a very strong drive to recover and to remain healthy as best I can. But my support structure around me is just brilliant. So both from a home sense, like the kids are brilliant. They're both happy to have a chat.
Yep.
Especially the daughter, she really gets interested in it. The wife's really good. Pretty much keeps everything normal. She's given me a couple of whacks over the years. I remember saying to the daughter really early on, saying, "Do you want me to go back to hospital?" She said no, and that's after whatever it was. Karen said, "Yeah, you can't say that." And I've gone, "Yeah, fair call. I'll take my medicine there." Nice little whack.
Yep.
And I'll take that because, yes, I cannot say that and I should not say that.
Yeah, it's up to you.
So the keeping it, boundaries have to be set. And this is, like I've spoken to and communicated with a lot of partners over the years of members with post-traumatic stress. And my message to them, I'm diagnosed post-traumatic stress disorder. That doesn't give me a licence to be a fuckwit.
Yep. 100%.
There's still boundaries. Yep. If you cross boundaries, you need to be whacked. Yep. There are some allowances here and there for whatever might happen, but you haven't got a licence to be an all-out dickhead. So
it's I'm going to say this to you, mate. It's what's happened to you. I talk about a lot now. Is post-traumatic growth.
Oh yeah,
you've had
I love that word.
You've had so much it could have defined what happened, and your life could have been, but you've chosen to get on the front foot, and it's now you're using that post-traumatic event, or events I should say, not one event, events over your police career, to now bring good from it, and now educate people going forward to get to where you are, and that's only going to benefit. That's as you said, you took one for the team, but the growth that's come from it, mate, it's unbelievable. Like, we're sitting here talking now, and it's unreal. Like, it's so good to see where you are, and and mate, I say it, and this is why we're mates. You're a bloody good human being, mate, and for you to have that, I'm going to beat. I'm going to get better, and I'm not beat it, but I'm going to get better, and that's what you've done.
Yeah.
And, mate, hats off to you.
And look, appreciate the words, and that's a bloke I know, Felix. So these are his words. He went through an incident that was just utterly horrific, and he said, "If I don't do anything with this, what's the point of it all?" And I've gone, going to use those words. We'll give you credit, but that's awesome, and that's again, we come back to the core reason, and so much of this stuff, I reckon, is traced back to mum dying. And so I was asked one day, "Would you be like this if your mum was alive?" I can't answer that question. I got no idea. I might be.
How long's
I might
a piece
not
of
be.
string? You don't know. Yeah.
You don't know. So having that positive effect on people and helping people through critical times, it's funny. People go, "You must be really proud. What you're doing is really awesome." And I'm like, I don't really feel pride. Now, whether I don't feel pride because my self-worth hasn't been built fully up. Again, there's another one, speaking to people who've had their self-worth wiped out. It's a pretty scary, critical place to be. It takes a long time to build it up. Now, I've built mine up a fair bit. Have I got a distance to go? Yeah, probably have. But
doesn't everyone?
True. But I also kind of think, you know what? If I've got the ability to do certain things and tell a story a certain way and relay my experiences, it's nearly like, well, you have to.
100%.
Because the vast majority of people don't want to talk about their experiences, and that's fine. It's your personal journey, and I will back you to the hilt. But those of us that are able to, well, we need to give a voice to the thousands, millions of people who haven't got a voice or don't want to use it. So, and I've got no problem talking about it. I haven't from the word go, and
I'm the same.
If someone said, "You're weak as piss, mate," no worries. That's cool.
What are you doing?
Walk a mile in my shoes and say, "There you go, champ."
Yep. The old man in the arena, mate. I love that.
Yeah.
It's so. If you're in the arena with me, I'll give you a seat at the table.
Yeah.
You can have a voice.
Yeah.
If you're on the sidelines and throwing rocks.
Yeah. No, mate.
No, sorry, mate.
Nothing
Sorry.
Pop, champ.
What's
Nothing
that?
for you,
mate. The old thing is, they've never made statues of critics. I've never seen a statue of a critic. I've always seen statues of people out there that are actually doing things. I've never seen a statue of a critic.
I've never heard that. It's actually a really good point.
So I've never seen a critic have a statue of, look at this critic, look at what he did.
Yeah.
It's always the people, or she or he, are always, there's statues of people that are out there actually in the trenches, getting things done, trying to better this world, mate, and that's exactly right. And mate, I'll say this: Bob's with you, but your mum's with you too.
Yeah, and I remember Karen saying, she goes, so when my lad was a little bubba, his room had nothing in it. I had a cot change table. We didn't want. So we'd heard horror stories of people having their nurseries decked out and everything, but the babies just get so heightened by everything that they never sleep. So let's just start off with nothing, and we'll go on from there. And she was feeding one night, and the lad kept looking over in the corner and smiling. And that's what Karen goes, there is a saying that babies can see ghosts. And she goes, that was your mum. And I'm like, that's pretty cool. So, I'm not a religious person in any sense of the word.
Yep.
But I do have a belief that I will see mum again.
100% you will. Mate, I had it. This will blow your mind here. I was up giving a talk up on the Gold Coast, and there was a psych in the room. And he come up to me afterwards, and he goes, "Are you open?" And I said, "Yeah, why?" He goes, "Can I let you know a little secret?" And I said, "Sure, mate, fire away." I said, "Go for it." He said, "Mate, your name was in the room." I said, "I know." He said, "She was on my shoulder." He goes, No. She was standing right there and just smiling and looking and smiling at how far you've come, and I get goosebumps, mate. And I just said, "Mate, I know. She's with me every day." I said, "I know she's on my left shoulder." And he said, "Mate, she was in the room. The smile was on her face to see her grandson standing in front of hundreds of people sharing his story to help change." And he's like, "Mate, I sit," and he's like, "I just wanted to come up and tell," and I'm like, "Thanks, mate. That really meant a lot."
That's cool.
So, yeah, and I absolutely, mate. I believe, mate, when you say you'll see your mum again, 100% you will, 100% you will. And I look at you and say 100%. So it's pretty, and a lot of people go, "What the hell? What are these two being smoked?" No, but you got to be open to it.
Yeah, and that's I'm like, people can think what they think. I just genuinely don't care.
That's right.
And I remember saying to my daughter, I said, when you reach a part in life where you just generally do not care what people think of you, that I don't know, I just generally don't care.
Yep.
Like, if one of my mates came up and said, "Hey, dude, you've been a dickhead doing this," I'd pull my head in.
Yep.
I'd listen to them because I respect them.
Friends or family, yep.
But, I'll go down the shops wearing Crocs and socks.
Nothing wrong with it.
It's comfortable. People going, "What are you doing?" I'm comfortable. I don't care.
That's right. Who cares? Exactly. You're in a circle, mate. That's what it is. If they care, and any young player out there, I say this to you, is probably from your teenage years right through to your mid to late 20s is the most challenging time of your life, because you're trying to find where you fit, where you belong.
Brutal.
And once you hit 30, all the shit you worry about in your teens and early 20s and late 20s disappears. And you just go, "What did I worry about that stuff?" And
move on to important stuff.
Move on to the important stuff. Family, friends, connection.
Yeah.
That's what it is, mate. And so, still serving, mate, but I want to get into, so we're nearly finished, and it's been bloody awesome to sit down and chat with you. I want to get into, you started the non-for-profit charity Code 9, and I know you're passionate, as I am, about first responders' mental health and the first responder space, mate. Talk us through what Code 9 is.
Yeah, so when I was sitting in hospital, I felt intensely alone, thinking no one could possibly know what I'm going through here, which is, again, obviously complete and utter bullshit. But my brain was just scattered at the time. So I didn't know, I actually didn't think I'd work again, but I had a little bit of a bluff in my mind thinking, when I get back to work full time, I'm going to start a little support group for coppers. So if someone's sitting in hospital, then me and a couple others can go in and go, "Hey, you're all good, mate. You're walking in our shoes. We know what you're going through. Just let them know that we got your back. So yeah, sort of thought about it. Yep, cool, but I'll do that once I get back to work full time. Started my return to work process. 2.5 years later, got back to full time work. I've gone, all right. So started a private Facebook group, invited my police mates, and then they invited their police mates, and then with the theory that once a month we're going to meet at, well, it turned out it was Anzac House in Melbourne on a Wednesday night for a couple of hours. All us, using the black humour, all us nutters getting together and having a laugh and just, chilling in a protected environment with no one else around, just us. And that kicked off really well. And then I think it was actually at the second one, Rob Atkins come along, and Rob, pretty close mate now, and involved with helped launch the foundation. Here's his assistant's dog Jimmy. So Rob messaged me saying what's important, or just backwards and forwards. So he come along, and we got along pretty well right from the word go. And then, but with Jimmy, the assistant's dog, we just hammered him with questions. It's just fascinating. And then I've been around Rob a couple of times where he's been triggered, and then just to see this dog go to work, it's just extraordinary. And so this goes on. I said, I've got a fiery mate, yep, come in, paramedic mate, yep. So coppers, paramedics, AAA operators, which we all agree, I think they got the worst job. Because at least we can actually see what's going on at the scene.
Yep.
Poor old operators are sitting behind. And professional fireys, and that's by no means. He said something early on about volunteers, which, I've come under a bit of stick for not including within the group our volunteer brethren. But I said, for you to volunteer to do it and not get paid, don't ever think I disrespect that.
Yeah.
And like I'm saying that to you now,
Yeah.
This is what I'd say to people when they'd cut up rough, and I offered to start up another group, help them start it, and but then no one wants to do the heavy lifting type thing, which is so be it. And it just sort of expanded a little bit, continued to grow, and we're very clear on the group in that there's no negativity, there's no bashing of organisations. It's about support, positivity. If you want to bring your pile of shit, take it somewhere else, because we're not having it. And you talk about people like some of the... I reckon if there was a piece of software that could scan over social media, particularly Facebook, into private groups, there'd be some pretty colourful comments about me over the journey because I wouldn't allow people to be negative.
That's good.
I should be allowed to. No. It's not a democracy.
It's a positive group.
Yeah. If you want to do that, go elsewhere. And I had a few messages screenshotted out of groups and sent to me. Oh, okay. And then those very people would come up and want to be my friends. I go, really?
Funny that, isn't it?
Not so much. And then Rob, Ben, myself were just sitting around one day at one of these meetings. And I said, well, you reckon we register as a charity and raise money for these dogs? Yeah, righto. So, again, Black Humour, 3 nutter coppers managed to start a registered charity with the aim to sponsor assistance dogs. But then, to Rob's credit, he said, sponsoring dogs is great, but that's one person and one family. We've got to be able to do more. So we can do anything. We haven't got a criteria how we can help. Cool. So, and that's basically morphed, and it's just continued to grow. So it's registered in 2018, and it's just continued to grow. And as we speak at the moment, 10 first responder kids are sitting in an adventure camp that we paid for.
That's awesome.
in Victoria. We've launched a kids book which explains, called My Dad, My Hero.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, we did get a lot of questions, where's my mum, my hero? But the foundation was founded by 3 fathers who are all PTSD, who all relate to this book with our behaviours and not wanting to play with kids and things like that. So hence My Dad, My Hero. But we are looking to adopt and different things, and like my grandfather, my hero, and it can be adopted to basically anyone.
Of course.
Just change the words in the book if you're reading it. So then, we got word one day that this former policewoman had been eating 2-minute noodles. Fucking hell, not having that. So we got a meal delivery service to drop a week's worth of meals on her. Awesome. So, and like sending members away on respite weekends where like they can afford it. It's not a monetary thing, but it's about them seeing that we see you, we acknowledge you, we understand things are a bit hard at the moment through your moods have been crap lately, so hey, here's this couple of nights at this hotel down lawn on the beach on the foreshore. Go put your feet up. And like the feedback's awesome. Like another policewoman, ill health retired, her mum really crook, coming into winter last year, or 2 years ago now, they were stressed about the firewood. We got you, girl. So we found a local firewood company that went and delivered and stacked a couple of metres of firewood for them to take that stress away. So like as far as criteria, we don't have a criteria. It's just how can we A, help, B, put a smile on her face, and like and a lot of preventative stuff as well. There's a AAA operator receiving cancer treatment, 2 kids, hubby/father out of the picture. All right, these kids are going to be doing it hard. Like, say, food's fine, accommodation's fine. All right, they live in Geelong. Do the kids barrack for Geelong? Yep, this is going through one of her mates. I need you to go covertly find out what size jumpers they wear. So then I just went to the AFL shop and bought a couple of new Geelong jumpers, sent them down to the kids, not her, to the kids.
That's awesome.
So it makes the kids smile, which makes mum smile. And mum knows, yeah, we're from a distance, but we've got you.
We've got you. That's awesome, mate. It's so good to see when people that are like-minded come together and create something that's now there for everyone. Yeah. It's so good to see, mate. Yeah. That's awesome. And I'm just going to take a quick break, mate. We'll come back. Yep. I'm just going to go to the toilet and we'll come back. So, mate, that's Code 9 and welcome back. So after that short little break. So that's the foundation, mate. And I want to ask you a couple of final questions, mate. And it's just been an absolute epic story to, hear your career, and it's still going. It's still, 29 years, still pressing away as a police officer. Bloody, I don't know how you do it, mate, with how it is and how it's changed in those 29 years. But, mate, knowing what you know now, what advice would you give your 18-year-old self, and would he listen?
I'd say, and what I say to anyone joining a first responder, and I'd say it to anyone joining the military, just have your mental health literacy up to scratch. Just have that. Would I have listened? If that message came off someone who I had an element of respect for, yes, I would. If it had to come off someone I didn't really rate, no, I wouldn't. That's basically what a lot of things come down to for me.
Absolutely. No, I love it. It's great.
If I rate you, I'll listen to you.
If you don't, yeah.
If I don't rate you,
it's like an ashtray on a motorbike, mate.
Yeah.
Useless. So, that's what it is, mate. Yeah. It's like an ashtray on a motorbike. Yeah. It's useless advice. So do I listen? No.
I'd be interested in what they've got to say in that, okay, there might be a little bit of a golden nugget in here somewhere, but yeah, no, I've got to really rate you to be 100% on it.
No, I like that. And as you mentioned, you know, what advice would you give anyone joining the emergency service? Have your mental health squared away? And, you know, now, mate, it's policing has changed, as I said. It's not what it was when you joined, 29 years ago. We've certainly we've gone very woke in policing now, as you would know. And it is that if it's not for you, it's not for you. That's okay.
Yeah.
It's not a job for everybody. And
well, that's where it's probably changed over the years. And like, I'm not. Maybe my generation is towards the end of you joined for a career, and you were in there for the long haul. Whereas I think, and this is not just policing, I think there's a lot of different employment, not places. I can't think of the word. Well, people do different jobs for different reasons, whereas a lot of people used to go in for a career, but now it's, you know what, I'm going to go in for a couple of years, and then I'm going to do this for a couple of years, and then I'm going to do that for a couple of years. It's like Like if you go way back, a generation or two, well, it was. You were in pretty much one job your whole life, whether you liked it or not. Bad luck, that's your job.
Mm-hmm.
But, over time, I've obviously evolved a lot, and there are choices in life, and, you can come into policing and you might be in for 2 weeks and go, you know what, this actually isn't for me.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you've just done 33 weeks in the academy, and you're only going to give it 2 weeks, but that's
100%.
Different. It's a different rules in 2000. I was about to say 24 then.
No, 2025.
25.
Yeah, 25. So I had this argument with my pop the other day. He's 90 and nearly 91, and he said to me, well, it wasn't an argument, it was just a discussion.
Yeah.
And he said, bloody ridiculous, the younger generation that changed job, like they changed their underwear. And I said, well, Pop, I said, times have changed. I said, why would you stay in a job if you're unhappy? If you're like, who says that you have to stay in a job that you absolutely hate, that brings your mental health down?
Yes.
It's not a great work environment. They're not great people to be around. Why would you want to stay? And he said, well, back in my day, you just sucked it up and got on with it. And I said, I said, Pop, it's not, you're 90, nearly 91 years old. It's a bit different in your day compared to what 2025 is. And I said, the times have changed, and we've got choice. As you said, we've got choice now.
Yeah,
choices. Like if it's not for you, it's not for you.
Yeah,
move on and find on what
do something else.
Yeah, what you like and what you're passionate about.
Yeah,
if you can turn it into a career, awesome.
Great.
That's what it is, and so that's great advice, mate. So any young player out there, if it's not for you,
it's not for you.
Yeah, that's it. And but be prepared to, as you've gone through, mate, that you are going to face trauma as a first responder.
Well, it's a central part of the job.
100%.
When things go pear-shaped, we go to it.
100%.
So you can stay healthy. Just make sure your mental health literacy is up. Understand where your moods are at. Go see a psych. Because if you tore a hamstring running after
you go and
a
see
crook,
a physio.
you're going to the physio. So, but like I did hear, this is a couple of years ago, I'm not sure, I think it might still be happening, there was a bunch of recruits, they graduated and then went and saw a psych. And the psych's like, okay, I'm just here to get to know you, so inevitably when I want to speak about some trauma, we've already got a relationship built up. Oh, how good. So they've already built that relationship. That they can come in 2 years' time after having, periodically seeing their psych just to have a chat about how work's going, then they come in one day and say, hey, I went to this job and I really didn't like it. All right, then you're straight into treatment.
Yep. Instead of trying to find that, beat around the bush and...
Yep, straight into it.
That's awesome.
That's gold.
Being proactive.
I like that.
So, mate, this one's a bit of a loaded question. In your opinion, what more needs to be done to support first responders and in day-to-day and also once they leave the job as well?
Well, particularly around that leaving the job. That's inevitably what happens within my community and also heavily in the defence community. Our jobs become our...
Identity?
Identity, that's the word. So when you leave the job, you're lost. You don't know what's... And like I've seen, and all of us that have worked within the agencies would have seen mates leave and people leave and they just fall in a heap because they don't know what to do because their whole lives have just been built around being a policeman, to use my community. Like I become aware of that identity probably 6 years ago, I reckon. Once I started my recovery started accelerating. I did the prolonged exposure therapy through that. Once I started to really recover, again, keeping the open mind, I was looking at different aspects of it and I'd come across this identity. So I spent the next 4 or 5 years really pulling my identity back. Now, I'm a whole range of things. And one of those things is I'm a police officer for 8 hours a day when I'm at work. And when I leave work, I leave work. I don't care about work. Like I'm on holidays at the moment. I have not thought about work since I've been on holidays because I've got my identity back. Whereas if you don't do that, or if you allow your identity to become, which is very, very difficult because it is, like everywhere you go, like your mates introduce you, this is my mate Tomo, he's a copper. Oh, Jesus. If I was a garbo, would you say, this is my mate Tomo, he's a garbo? Like you wouldn't. But, like people want to hear stories about policing, about paramedic, about fireys, about military, about, anything that's that's got TV shows about them, basically. But you just got to work extremely, extremely hard on yourself to make sure that you maintain all your hobbies outside of work, your friendship circles outside of work. And you've got to be aware if you're starting to pull away from them towards only going out with coppers. Because then you're working all day and then you're talking about it all night. And you lose your identity. And once you lose your identity, you're in real trouble.
Yeah, I like that.
It takes a long, long time to pull it back.
I like that. That's great advice to any young, and I've seen it with friends of mine who've joined the job.
Yeah.
They only hang around police. It's like,
yeah, no, wrong.
What are you doing? Like, we were mates before you joined the police. Yeah. Like, and some of them now don't talk to you, mate. Yeah. And it's like, okay, that's not healthy, but anyway, but yeah, mate, I like that there's, more needs to be done in this space.
Yeah.
And we've spoken off air about, certain things that we've got in the works, mate, of hopefully that'll go forward. And because, mate, we're losing far too many to, from trauma of service, and enough is enough.
Yeah.
We need to all band together and come under one umbrella and actually start to work together.
Correct.
So, mate, what are your plans going forward in the future with your family?
All pretty solid at the moment. Kids are coming from the tail end of their schooling, so we'll support them through that, through uni if they want to go through uni, although one of them probably will, the other one maybe not. But whatever they want to do, we'll support them through that, and I'm very much looking forward to retirement. I'm not throwing my life away by any stretch of the imagination, but I certainly won't be one of these people that will have all of their, like I've got X amount of certificates, accommodations, whatever, they're all sitting in a frame. They'll probably go to the tip, I'd imagine. Like, I won't have any need nor want to have them hanging up at home. I just, when I walk away, I'll be done.
Proud of your service, but it's,
yeah. Like, I've done some, been part of some brilliant teams that's done some brilliant work, helped a lot of people. That's great. But when I close the book on that chapter, it's closed, and I won't be revisiting it. And it's behind me. Okay, my next chapter is, and that's probably 7-8 years away. And then I'll get up, walk the dog around the block, read the morning paper. Well, I won't read the paper because they're full of clickbait crap at the moment. But I'll check what's happening in the sporting world, because that's pretty much all I read in the papers. And then should the kids have grandkids, I'll be on call. Or should the kids have kids, then my grandkids, well, then if you need a hand, give me a yell. I'm more than happy to come around. Like, I certainly won't be around there every day telling them what they're doing right and what they're doing wrong. They'll work it out. But, if they want to go out for a night out, no worries. I'll be, I'm actually really looking, hopefully they allow me to do it, which I'm confident they will, but go around and babysit for the night. That'll be my lot. Bit of travelling.
Bit of speaking that you do now as well.
I really enjoy the speaking.
Yep.
I get my tail up when I see other speakers who are clearly just trying to sell a product, because to me, you're not here to sell a product. The product is helping people maintain their mental health.
Correct.
And showing people that they're not alone, and helping them through their circumstances by showing that, look, I bottomed out, I didn't want to live, but hey, here I am working.
Post-traumatic growth.
I'm working this, I'm running a charity, I'm helping coach a cricket club, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, doing this and doing that. So speaking is fun. You can get quite anxiety invoking at times.
Oh yeah.
But I actually enjoy that, because it's a little friendly clip behind the ears to tell you that you're alive. And to me, it's challenging, and I love a challenge. And that's to dive back into the ice bath. Not that I dive in, but you know what I mean. Doing something that's uncomfortable is good. Get comfortable with being uncomfortable.
100%.
And getting up before people and telling them, opening yourself up and telling them this story, and when you get feedback. Like, I actually had a bloke come up to me one day and said, "You saved my life." And I looked at him and I said, one of the things I've been working incredibly hard on the last couple of years is acknowledging when someone says something nice to me.
Yep.
I used to push it away because I never thought I was worthy of it. So now, sometimes I don't think I'm worthy of what praise I'm getting, but I will take the time to thank that person because they've gone out of their way to do that. And I explain that, and as I said to you, I don't know what to say to that. I've seriously got no words.
It's a powerful thing, isn't it? I had it at my book launch night as well, where a lady got up and burst into tears and said, "You've saved my life." And I just sat back in the chair and just went, I don't know what to say.
I've got nothing.
And I sat there blank, and everyone's looking, and I just, in the end, I just said, thanks.
Yeah,
like,
same.
I'm just like, thanks. Like, I didn't know, and it is powerful when you have people say that, and it's like, I'm like you, I was very much, it doesn't sit, like people say you're an inspirator.
It doesn't sit well.
As now I go, thank you. That really means a lot.
It's important to acknowledge that.
It is, but it's hard to take, because a long time I thought I was bragging, like, look, it's not that at all. It's just, okay,
no, it's acknowledging it.
Thank you very much.
I had another bloke come up, give a talk, part of a wider sort of day, and he said, and again, by you, so one of the things with the foundation, yes, we've sponsored a few assistance dogs, but we've also rehomed a few dogs.
Yep.
And this bloke was desperate for a dog, and he just couldn't get one. It just, the moons aligned, and we matched him with his dog, and he goes, by you doing that, you saved my life. Because that dog has saved my life, so you did that.
That's powerful.
And then I was aware of it. I've gone, thanks for that. I really appreciate your comments. But then also I've gone, but you need to understand how much work you did as well. You put yourself out there to ask for that help. Yeah. So there's a bit of a mutual...
100%.
But at least I knew how to react to that. But that first time, I'm just sitting there like, it's been very few times in my life I've been without words. And I didn't know what to say.
And it is, mate. That's what, at the end of the day, that's what my pillars, mate, in my life: love, growth, and connection. And that's connection at its purest form, to say you're actually helping. And that's, at the end of the day, as I said to you off air, that's why we're here, mate. Is to help. We've got a job to do, and when our time's up, the plug's pulled, and that's it. Our time is up, and we never know when that is. But you know, as we said as well off air, if you can put your head down on the pillow each night knowing that you've done good or you've helped someone, that's all that matters.
And it's all different chapters in your life. Exactly. And that's like with Victoria Police. Like 29 years this year in, I've had a great career. Yes, I've had some lows, whatever, no worries. But it's also given me the opportunity to do some awesome things.
100%.
But I'll close that chapter one day. And then, you know, the foundation's been awesome, but there will be a time when I will close that chapter and I'll hand the reins over to someone else. And then something else will happen, and then I'll close that chapter. It's just a big chapter book. And
that's exact, mate. It's eventually one day this podcast will come to an end as well.
And there's another chapter.
Who knows when that is? But you know, I still love doing it, mate. I still love, you know, like we've been talking for ages to get this, and now it's happened. It's awesome, and as I say, mate, who knows? This chapter closed, next one starts.
Yeah, another one opens.
That's right, exactly. And mate, how do people follow you if they want to get in contact with you as well, and get you for a speaking gig as well? Yeah,
and it's funny, when I was talking about self-worth before, like I sound like a real flog when I say I've got a website, markthomas.com.au. And it's like my instant reaction to that when I say that is like, you're such a tool. But you know, then I've got to temper that by, again, going back to what I said before, I have the ability to speak about this. So how do you get that ability out there? You know, like all the podcasts I've done are on there, and there's messages on there, and you know, things like that. And on socials, so Facebook, Insta, X, although I don't use X that much. I just read it for sports updates, basically.
Yeah.
SGT, as in short for Sergeant. SGT, Mark Thomas.
Yep.
That's, reach out. And give me a hoy.
If you're a wanker, Mark won't answer, but if you're a good person, he will. So, just, if you're a wanker, stay away. And he's got a pretty good radar of who's a wanker, so I just want to throw that in there. But, mate, is there any plans for you to write a book? And you've done the book, but is there a plan to put your story down on paper?
Not sure. Not sure. I think it would be good, not necessarily to sell copies,
Yeah.
but just to get the words down. I think it would be like we've spoken about yours in the past, and I've spoken to other people. It's just a cathartic experience.
100%.
But then I also think that, like, mentally, I'm in a really good spot at the moment, and I'm, a couple of weeks shy of ticking the final diagnostic point for chronic fatigue syndrome. So it's only a mild case, and when I say only, yes, I'm acknowledging that it is impactful on my life, but it has not hurt me mentally one bit because of the skills I've learnt in the past. So that was leading to something which, of course, I've completely forgot. But yeah, look, it's something I've sort of thought about. I mean, that might be in retirement. I might sit down because, like, I'm pretty busy, got a fair bit going on, and I do like my chill time as well, where I just, watch whatever.
Yeah.
Some show that requires no brain activity whatsoever, and sit there with my fruit and yogurt or something and just chill. So
I find that hard because, especially being ADHD, mate, to actually stop and just.
Yeah,
I find that difficult. Very hard. Yeah, someone with PTSD would be the same. Would so to actually take those times to.
I've trained myself to be able to do it.
Yeah, right.
So I used to, like, I could sit down and seemingly he looks pretty relaxed, but my mind would be going, yeah. And now I'll sit down on the couch and it's like Homer with the with the drums. I'm just essentially, there's no brain activity going on.
Yep. You just sit and watch whatever.
Just sit and watch whatever and just completely chill, which is, I enjoy. I have to have that time though.
Yep.
That's recovery time. So, I mean, it's a thought one day, whether I get around to it. Yeah, it could be a retirement thing.
Yeah. I want to ask you this as one final question. As a police officer, do you get the shits with the TV shows that solve a murder or what's in about an hour?
Well, I'm not allowed to watch them.
Yeah, right.
Because I don't like police shows.
Yeah.
I mean, seriously. But the family would be sitting there watching something. Well, you can't do that. That doesn't happen. So I've basically essentially been banned from watching police shows with the family. Because, like, I sit there and just go, like, I mean, you see it with, like, a war movie will come out and defence will go, yeah, that gun wasn't used in that conflict and this. And, like, I do the same. And, like, I'm sitting there watching it. I remember watching one of those shows one day, and I've gone, well, it is a Hollywood movie, let him go sort of thing, because I hadn't actually done it before. And then, police shows come on. I'm going, really? Dino results in 3 minutes. That happens. Oh, can you just be quiet and watch the TV? No, I can't.
Yeah, because it's not true.
Yeah.
It's not real.
It's not factual. It's nowhere near it.
Do you think they actually have, police advisors that come onto the show and actually say, hey, this...
Blue Heelers did.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, right.
But from what... I didn't watch hardly any episodes of Blue Heelers, but I think...
Great show.
That was a little bit closer to... The real thing, sort of thing. So, but yeah, I typically stay away from them.
Yeah.
I don't. But look, I understand it. I understand that people... Like I said to my wife one day, I said, what is it with you and crime podcasts? She goes, well, I couldn't do what you do. So this is my entry into that world. I've gone, fair call.
Yeah.
But it's like, I know a lot of people can't do what I do. That's fine. But I know I couldn't go join the army and go to Afghanistan. No chance.
Well,
I can't do that. I haven't got the ability to do that.
Some of the veterans, mate, said the same thing to me. They're like, you run at fire, you're just nuts. You run into fire. I said, it's just training.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I can't run at bullets. I'd rather run at fire than
downrange coming your way.
And just bullet. They just said, oh, it's training, mate. And I said, yeah.
Yeah, and it's just a different mind.
100%.
Well, different makeup of things like that. Like, again, I've had, similar to you, defence saying, so yeah, but I went to the other side of the world. Then I come here and all's good. You can't go anywhere in the city without going, dead there, drug overdose there, serious assault there, rape there. Fair point.
It's, but, mate, as I say, we need our defence force. We need our first responders.
Yeah.
They go hand in hand, side by side with each other. It's if you get rid of one, well, you'd have a national. I'd hate to think of what would come in. on the flip side, you have a lawless society.
That'd be fun.
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus.
No thanks. Yeah.
But and it's good. Like our two communities, we come to the same crossroads, but by different ways.
Yeah.
But with the foundation, Aussie Vets Coffee Company, utterly brilliant. Good mates with John McNeil. We do a lot of social connection activities with them. Young veterans for fishing.
Yep.
Beef Chief Jerky, Ministry of Chocolate. All of these people that, charities as well as defence-owned organisations where, there's not too many, on our website we've got a first responder-owned business. So if you want a first responder business, support, there they are. But it's so good when our communities have come together, yet we're still our own communities. We're not meshing into, it's not one great big community. No, because I'll never be part of your community.
That's right.
So this is my community. I stick to my community, but we mix together.
That's right, exactly. And that's the best thing is, and if you go to the heart of a veteran and you go to the heart of a first responder, what's the thing that is peeled back all the layers?
Helping
we just
people.
Want to help people of service and give service, and that's what it is. It's giving of service. Both one choose, either to put face paint on and go and defend our national interests, or you do what we do and put our uniforms on to protect the community locally. So, but if you peel all that back, service, giving back, and
it's just helping people.
That's what it is,
at
mate.
The core of it all,
mate. It's been an absolute it's such a story, and just, mate, I'm so glad that get to call you mate, and I want to thank you for your service. I want to thank you for and you're continuing to serve now, which, take my hat off to you, mate. I don't know how the hell you keep doing it. So my cousin just got out after 9 years, and you've done 29. So but he just said I had enough, and that was it, and did 9 years, and that was it. He got out before it's gone. We didn't touch on the wokeness but that's okay, because I know you're still serving, so we'll leave that. We'll leave that for part 2 in a few years' time. So, but mate, I want to thank you for what you do for first responders and also people who are struggling with mental health, and with the charity and everything that you do. And mate, you're just an absolute top bloke, and I thank you for coming on and sharing your story. It's been an absolute honour and a privilege. So thank you.
Thanks for having me, It's 3.5 hours. It's gone.
Yeah.
Very, very quickly.
It has, mate.
I really appreciate your time, and like I've said it before, in that it's all good and proper for me to stand on my rooftop and yell out the mental health message, but when I get people like yourself to give a fairly substantial chunk of time to use your quite large platform to help convey that message, full of gratitude for what you do, what you've done. And I know we've spoken about it previously in you're 130, 40, 50 episodes deep or whatever it is, and you've captured so many stories for for educational purposes, for people that get to know other people. You've captured conversations of people who are no longer here, and they're forever captured. So really appreciate you and your work. So thanks for having me. Super.
Thank you, mate. And as I say, mate, I look forward to coming back down. Well, you came up to Sydney, and I look forward to coming down to Melbourne and catching up and having. I know you don't drink now, mate, but we can catch up and have a nice ginger ale. So, thanks, mate.
Pleasure.
Thank you for tuning in to this episode of True Blue Conversations with your host, Adam Bloom. See you on the front line.